Ladies and gentlemen, this is Flat Out Elected. We got Arcane Logos, obviously back from vacation. We're going to hear a bit about what he experienced. Arcane, thank you for joining us. And, of course, Teal Summers, because every hangout needs somebody pretty. And I certainly wasn't going to be able to provide that. I wasn't going to be able to provide that on my own. So I brought also, just to lighten up the chat, we brought with us tonight D Marble. And D Marble is a very, very wise young flat earth man, and he's going to put some of that wisdom across this hangout this evening, and we thank him. D Marble, thank you so much for coming, brother. Thank you.
Hey, thank you for having me on, Randy. This is an excellent opportunity. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun. So I don't know. I always go ahead, Arcade.
No, I was just saying, what's happening, man? What's going on with y'all?
Shoot. You know, just got off the 9 to 5 grind, doing that thing. So had to rush out somewhere, grab some coffee. You know, throw on my superhero costume and find some Wi-Fi to mooch off of.
Hey, that's what's up, man. I could dig that lifestyle, man.
It's not bad. It's not bad as long as I don't know, as long as you got a few things set up. All you need for this whole situation, for the most part, is you got to have a PO box. You want a PO box set up somewhere, and a gym membership. That helps.
Yeah, but man, it's economical though.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is.
I could dig it, man.
Yeah, we were actually we were talking about that a bit, Arcane. We're saying that, what was it again? I guess it was David Chappelle said, what was the joke he said, Arcane, about?
He said if he could keep a girl in a cardboard box, he wouldn't buy a house.
I'm saying, look, that's about every man I know. Shoot.
Yeah.
You know, look, if it was all us, we'd be living in tents somewhere. You know, just no, not taking showers and stuff. It'd just be terrible. we need these ladies to keep us in order.
For real, I'd live in my car if I could. I remember when I was young, my dad had this big old van that had the blinds in the back of the windows and everything. It had a bed you could lay on. I remember we used to love going on that road trip from out Orlando up to Jacksonville in the back of that thing, man. Why not? I mean, if you ain't got kids, you ain't got no obligations.
Yeah.
Just working you.
Yeah.
May as well.
Yeah, true. I can dig it.
That's what's up. And you know, as long as you got money for food and gas, you're straight.
Yeah. It's not a bad setup, you know. It affords me opportunities to go visit my kids whenever I want to, pretty much. So it's good times. It's good times. Also, you know, funding my experiments and things like that is a little bit easier, not having to pay rent. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
That's one thing that I really like about your channel, is that you actually put in the work to kind of show and demonstrate what you're talking about.
Right. I'm a visual learner myself, and I guess I teach. I guess you could call me somewhat of a teacher to some degree. I can't believe I'm saying that, but yeah, I try to teach the way I learn, and I learn through, you know, someone speaking very simply, very clearly, and giving me visuals along the way. And every now and then I'll throw in some sounds or music to kind of pull people's attention back in, because, you know, that's how I would want to watch YouTube videos. So I'm basically making videos for myself for the most part.
Yeah, that's how science works, though. I mean, observation and demonstration and experimentation. So it's great.
Thank you. I got something coming up. I don't want to talk too much about it. I already I exposed my next trick on Dre's channel the other night, but I kind of want to keep it on the DL. I don't want to spoil it for too many people, but next one's going to be a pretty decisive blow to the globe model. I can tell you that.
Ooh, look forward to it.
Oh yeah. the subject is the sun. I'll tell you that.
That's
Yeah, you kind of. I was there
You
when you
mean
mentioned it.
Jesus? No, I'm teasing.
No, I was there when you mentioned it, so I know kind of what you're gonna do. It's actually very, very simple, but very, very, very clever. So I already know what it is, but yeah, very, very clever, brother, for sure.
Yeah, I actually, here I gotta make a request on the spot. If we can cut this one off in like 2 hours, because I need to go record jump in front of the camera and do the explanation for my video that's coming up, and then I'm gonna run over to Applebee's and go edit and all that stuff like I normally do. That's kind of my routine.
Yeah, man, 2 hours is good for us. We don't. I don't really hang up much longer than that myself, anyways. I'll leave these hangouts open for everybody else to do what they want, and then catch up what happened in the morning. But yeah, 2 hours is good, bro. You're not obligated to spend all night with us.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
I'm just saying, I'm trying to stick to schedule, and I promised everybody that I would get it out yesterday in a video that I made in the morning because, so here I had to address something because I do, I did that meetup in Seattle last week, and I did the recap, and I put up a bunch of pictures with folks that showed up, and we were doing this hand sign, like this means just keep it flat. This is like the flat earth salute, okay? I got guys, I greet guys greet me like that at work. We'll see each other and, yo, Mark, what's up? You know what I'm saying? We're like, keep it flat. And I had to address that because somebody was saying, that's a Masonic hand sign. I knew it. He's a shield. He's Illuminati. I'm like, nah, man, it's not even like that. That means we know that the earth is flat. We know that it's level out there everywhere we see. So we're just like, keep it flat. That's what that is. Like, I'm not a Mason. And I, in that video, I addressed that and told a story about when the Masons approached me a while ago. And no, man, I'm no Mason. I'm not some agent. I'm not some shill. I'm some dude that lives in a van in Tacoma in the area, and I'm just trying to expose the lies out here. That's all.
Well, it's hilarious, bro. We were talking before you stepped on here. I mean, everybody's a shill now, right?
Yeah, anybody that gets any sort of buzz, if you got more than 1,000 subscribers, you are a certified shill. You're an Illuminati plant. That's just it.
I'm praying against anybody that's about to call me out as a transvestite.
Yeah.
You want to call me a shill? That's your business. But please, Lord, just put a block on, drop some angels on these people. Have nobody call me a transvestite. I don't even want to try to fight that one. You know what I mean? Because it's just silly.
I'd like to think that I already addressed that one because I kind of put up a short video in one of my other videos. It was like 5 potential answers to why they would lie. Showing my old bodybuilding competition pictures. And I'm like, come on, guys, I don't have tranny dimensions. Come on. So, I'd like to think I got past that, but I read in some comments on another channel. They were like, yep, I think he's a tranny. I'm like, me? They're like, yeah, his shoulder to hip ratio. His face is like too pretty. I'm like, what? Come on. I'm like,
let me see your fingers.
I said that.
Let me see your fingers.
That beard too thick, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, really? I'm sorry, that's real. What are you talking about? Because I have a beard, that makes me a tranny. So I'm like, all right, man, if you say so.
Yeah, I couldn't grow a beard like that if I tried, bro. So.
Man, it's crazy what people will come out with.
I'm saying, just they might. Hey, if he's a tranny and he got a beard like that, imagine what they say about me. I can't grow a beard that thick to save my life. Pause.
Man. I'm saying, it's like yes.
I want to know when you became a flat earther and how. Like, what was that moment for you, brother?
Yes.
When did you all wake up that next day and realize, I'm about this flat earth now?
So what had happened was, at the time, my girlfriend and I, we were watching Netflix because we unplugged the cable because we knew that was all fake and we were trying to save money. We were, in the same apartment. So we sat here, canceled the cable, and we had Netflix and we had YouTube. We had like did a whole binge on YouTube, got into all kinds of conspiracies. So I was already primed for flat Earth, and we had got to a point to where we were burnt out as far as the conspiracies go. So we decided to take a time out from the conspiracy stuff, and we got on Netflix and watched this show called Under the Dome, based on that Stephen King novel. It's about that small town. There's like this dome that covers it up. All of a sudden, the townspeople start to turn on each other. They're, saying that the food is going to be running short soon. People start killing each other. I mean, it went crazy after a while. And, we watched all 3 seasons of that show. And you know how you get that withdrawal once you binge watch a Netflix series? And then you're like, all right, so now what? So
right.
we went on YouTube looking for, maybe some extra episodes or something, I don't know, from that show, Under the Dome. And I typed in Under the Dome. And I found this video. Like, the first one that pops up is a video by Leisure X titled Under the Dome. It's a 2-hour video. And I saw this weird picture. It looked like the Earth, and then there was this dome over it, and it was like out in space. I was like, well, that looks weird. So I, clicked on that video, and the first words I hear was, this is a Reader's Digest of the more interesting points of the flat Earth theory. I was like, I had paused it. I'm like, did he say flat Earth? We're talking to each other. And, it was Mark Sargent. And what that video was a compilation of Mark Sargent's flat Earth clues. So, I mean, we watched the guy's voice was kind of hypnotic, in a weird way. I was just like, kind of a calming voice, we're just relaxing, listening to this guy, and he just starts making some interesting points. So we ended up watching that. We would watch the first clue, pause it, and look at each other like, you know what, that made a lot of sense. So we would hit play again, watch the next one very intently, and pause it again. You know what? I do think they might have had the technology to fake the moon landings at some point. I mean, we don't really know, because if they have the technology to fake it now in movies, then when did they develop the technology to fake it? So we start asking each other questions back and forth after each one of these Flat Earth Clues videos. And I mean, I ended up watching that video the whole weekend. It was like a Friday night when I first saw it, and like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I mean, it was back to back. I would wake up in the morning, turn it back on, and watch this again. And by the end of the weekend, I was like, I think the Earth is flat, But even after that, it took me about, I don't know, a few months before I would actually say it out loud. And the first time I might have said it out loud outside of the apartment, shoot, I was in my car. I was in my car. I like pulled the little visor down, looked myself in the eyes. I'm like, the Earth is flat. I'd actually said it out loud. And, it was just, that was it, man. It was Under the Dome. Mark Sargent was the first guy that I heard it from. And, it didn't take long, because I was like, if they would lie to us about all these other things, then, of course they would lie about the shape of the world.
So what do you think, looking back on it, like, I'd say I had a similar experience, man. It took me a while to be like, yeah, it's flat. But now that I look back on it, like, what was it for you that really, like, convinced you? Now that you look back, what do you think is the biggest thing that tipped you over the edge, no pun intended, to say, yeah, it's flat?
Right. I remember when I was younger, growing up in Arkansas, OG country boy here. Growing up in Arkansas, I used to go fishing with my dad all the time. My dad's a pastor of a church down there. At his job, he worked at a power plant, and it was connected to the Arkansas River. And sometimes on Saturday mornings in the summertime, he would wake us up, me and my brother, really early in the morning, like 4:30 in the morning, so we can get out on the water by 5:30. Water's nice and clear. The fish aren't up jumping yet. The sun's not even up. You know, we go to the bait shop. We go grab some worms. We'll get an A&W root beer, some other snacks, and then we jump back in the truck and we go down to the fishing hole. And we would get down there, and I remember walking down there, got my bucket, my tackle box and all that, my fishing pole, and we would get down to the water, and I remember it was so calm in the morning. And I would look across the water, and from one edge to the other, I remember it looked like a mirror. It looked like glass, you know, because it was so calm. And when I heard about flat Earth, I thought back to that. You know what I mean? I had that recollection. And then I was like, I looked at the water. I remember going fishing with my pops, and it was flat. Then I like got a bottle of water in my hand. I look at that, and I see the surface of it. I'm like, well, that's flat. And I remember we had a swimming pool. I'll go out there on a calm day, look at that. I'm like, the water always lays flat. So I'm like, water in the bottle, in the bathtub, in the swimming pool, in the lake. I think the oceans probably play by the same rules. So yeah, that all makes sense. And that's why, and that's like the biggest giveaway as far as my proof or my belief as far as the Earth being flat. And I have that written on the side of my van right here. On it, it says Earth's surface is 71% water. Bodies of water do not curve. Therefore, the Earth is flat. Research flat Earth. That's on the side of my van right there. So I'm driving around in a mobile billboard all day, every day. But water is the dead giveaway in my book.
Yeah, they've never demonstrated, you know, water curving on a ball. I would love to see that demonstration. I would love to see anything about their model being demonstrated.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, we don't see it. We ask for it, and they always tell us that we don't have any evidence. But I'll tell you what, we're going to have some in the next day or so. I can tell you that.
Oh, and I think we already have plenty if people would just open up and look into it.
Exactly. And that's usually the issue. They say there's no evidence. I'm like, they're usually saying that with their eyes closed, you know?
Right.
Yeah. The only people I see that say that are the people that haven't looked into it. By admission, they don't want to look into it, so they're not going to.
Yes.
But anyone that I've seen that actually does look into it has had nothing but positive things to say in favor of the flat Earth. I mean, you can't deny you can, like, hold on, let me take that back. You can only deny your senses for so long before you start being looked at as crazy. So I see more and more the tide starting to turn from the flat earthers being looked at as crazy to the spinning ball earthers being looked at as crazy, because everything about what they're saying is contradicting common sense. So I think your billboard is brilliant. It makes people, even for, you know, if you're stopped at a stoplight, even for that second, they can comprehend that.
Yes.
And they don't have time to throw anything at you. You know, you can just drive away.
Yeah.
So it's brilliant.
Yeah, and it says Google D Marble on that thing. So if they type D Marble in Google, the first thing they're going to see is my spirit level experiment. So you know, if they click on that and they watch that video, they're going to be like, well, shoot. Well, that, I guess the level should have moved. You know, it's like,
tell us about it. What'd you do with the experiment?
So what I did with that and the origin of that. I was talking with some guys at my job, and you know, I was pretty excited about flat Earth, and I was pretty vocal about it, you know, at work, and anybody that would listen, just sitting around. So I was talking to my buddy Omar, and I'm like, Omar, there's some things that would not work on a globe. Well, it's a gyroscope wouldn't work, a spirit level wouldn't work, a compass wouldn't work, because in the military, we learned that you have to take a compass, hold it like this. You know, you have to hold it like at your belly button and hold it flat and level. So it actually tilts and can, you know, spin towards north. So spirit level, gyroscope, compass, and radar, I believe it was, wouldn't work on a globe. And
a periscope. Yeah.
Yeah, and a periscope. There you go. And you know, so what I did after work, thinking about that, I went and bought a spirit level, which is this one right here. Me and my props. This is what I do when I do these things. Oh God, got a text. All right, so I went and bought the spirit level, took it to work the next day. I'm like, Omar, look, we're in Tacoma here. Now, this bubble lays in the center. All right. If I can sit that in the ground, on the ground in this level here, and then I drive, 2 hours down to Portland, and it's still level there. That means the earth is flat pretty much. And I couldn't really articulate that all that better. Excuse me. And, I thought about it. I thought about it for a few minutes, and I'm like, well, if I could drive my car down there, if I could prove that, drive my van down there, and I could sit it somewhere flat, and I could show that it's not moving, but I was like, I'd be going up and down hills, and I would have to film the level for like 2 hours, and I'm like, nah, that's too much. But I knew I had a flight coming up, and I decided that I would take the spirit level onto the airplane and wait until the plane got to cruising altitude. And the whole idea of cruising altitude is like basically a plane takes off, noses up, and gets to a point to where it just flies just straight. They're like, okay, cruising altitude is 35,000 feet. So I'm like, if a level works just the same, it'll go, you'll see the bubble go towards the front. And then when it gets to cruising altitude, it'll just, okay, well, there it is. And I balanced the level on the tray table. So I sat the level on the tray table. I had to prop it up with a couple of cards, maybe my driver's license and debit card, something like that, to get it level on the tray table. And I just turned my phone on, and I recorded 23 minutes and 45 seconds, which the speed of Airbus A321 aircraft would be 515 miles per hour cruising speed. So 515 miles cruising speed, 23 minutes and 45 seconds, that's 203 miles. According to spherical trigonometry, that means we would have had to compensate for about 5.2 miles. But there was no dipping the nose of the plane in order to compensate for the curvature. So, that pretty much showed that the earth is flat. And people try to argue that, well, it was probably a really slight dip, and, the bubble didn't stay centered the whole time. But I'm like, the thing is, I broke it down to by the minute, at that speed, according to spherical trig, that plane covers 8.5 miles a minute. So according to spherical trigonometry, the plane would still have to compensate for 48 feet a minute. So that means the bubble would constantly be towards the back of the level because the plane's steadily going over the curve. Right. But that didn't happen, So
it's plain to say.
Yes.
No pun again. I'm just sick with the puns today. But it's plain to say that, or plain to see rather, that it's more rational to assume that you're flying over a level surface, that we're not curving. If you were to compare the two scientifically, empirically, and come to a conclusion based on that experiment, there's no reason to assume that there's any curve of the earth. More rational to assume that we're just flying over a level plane.
Yep. That's
even for 23 minutes, it's that easy.
Yeah. I mean, and you can't do that. You can't really argue with it because it's just that simple of an explanation. And a lot of people will see it and they'll scream gravity and say, well, no, on the globe, you're flying over a curve, so no matter where you are on the ball, it's always just gravity's pulling towards the center, so it doesn't really matter. So everywhere you go is just flying over a flat plane, so it doesn't work. I'm like, you need to get off of that gravity crack pipe, if you don't mind.
Well, gravity's their magical wizard, their all-powerful God that creates and makes the impossible possible.
Yes.
They have they need gravity for everything to work in their model. It's just completely absurd.
Right.
For anyone that looks at it with more than a sci-fi skepticism. But like you said, you know, but with their model, like if they say gravity in that instance, wouldn't it mean that they could just hover above the spot in a helicopter and the Earth would bring the destination to them?
Exactly.
If, you know, so they're cut both ways in that sense. If they want to say that gravity keeps it level, that means it keeps everything perpetually lined up with the center axis wherever you're at all times. That means the atmosphere too. But the destinations would be able to come to you in that sense, and it never happens. I was in artillery in the Army, and that was one thing that, you know, got me about the whole spin of the Earth and the Coriolis and the curve. There's no way we could factor that in at a split second.
Right.
It'd be way too dangerous to try to consider shooting a cannon under or over rather a moving Earth. Makes no sense whatsoever.
None.
So yeah, either way they go, if they say gravity, they're shot, and if they just go with the plain face experiment as you did it, they're shot. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. And you know, from that experiment, IFL Science got a hold of that, and actually I just made that video for a small group of people on Facebook. There was a Facebook group, Flat Earth No Trolls, that I was part of, and you know, I talked to those guys. I said, hey, can you give me that meme where it shows all the, you know, I called it curvature math. Didn't call it spherical trigonometry. I was like, hey, give me that thing for the curvature math, man. Let me get that. And you know, because it shows all the numbers and how much you're supposed to compensate for the curvature. And actually, I made that video kind of just for them and anybody else that wanted to check it out. And I just put it on my YouTube channel, and at most, the video got to about 7,500 views on it. And what happened from there, IFL Science got a hold of it, because I later realized that a guy that I work with, he admitted this like a couple weeks ago. He said, hey, actually, I put your video on Reddit. I'm like, Dustin, you know, come on, man. You know, he said he put it on Reddit. He said, hey, guys, what do you think about this? And, you know, it kind of just exploded from there. And then IFL Science got a hold of it. They did a hit piece on me, and I didn't know about this. It was a Friday morning when they did it, and they posted the article. They called me a conspiracy theorist. They linked some tweets that I had sent and that they sent about me, calling me an idiot or telling me that I need to study gravity. And then, you know, the big mistake that they did was they linked my video to that article, and people started to share that article, and more people started to actually watch the video. And that was a big mistake on their part, because they wanted to kind of discredit me and call me crazy and tell me it was just stupid, blah, blah, but they
made you go viral.
Yeah, yeah, but the title of the article was Flat Earthers Experiment Goes Viral, but not in the way that he'd hoped. I'm like, 7,500 views is not viral, you know.
Right.
But by the end of the day, you know, and the way I found out, again, Mark Sargent sent me a message, or he left a comment on that video. He said, hey, you made the news, man. I was like, wait, what? You know, I'm like, what news? I clicked on this thing and I read the article. I was like, well, dang. I hadn't, you know, it's different when somebody calls you an idiot in the comment section or something for being a flat earther, or, you know, on your Facebook post or whatever for saying that. But it's a totally different thing when somebody actually sits down and takes the time to call you an idiot in an article, you know?
Right.
So
yeah,
that happened. And I mean, by the end of that day, I had been called retard, idiot, moron, dummy, you know, and some other stuff. Everything but a child of God, you know, all in that one day. I mean, I got over being ridiculed within like 20 minutes. So I just went from being hurt to being angry, and I was like, all right, I'm done. So, you know, I'm never going to meet these people anyway. And then I started to realize some people are saying in the comments of the video, all right, this experiment checks out. You know, this makes sense. I guess the earth is flat. So while some people were ridiculing me, others were starting to wake up to this thing. So, you know, I started to try to focus on that, which was, I mean, you know, it was a totally different thing. But by the end of the night, the video had gone from 7,500 views to about 75,000. And by the time I woke up, it was 133,000. And I got up that Saturday morning like, I need to address this on my YouTube or something, because this could be a problem. And I mean, it was, let me see, that afternoon.
Bring the hate, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It was like before I started recording that video telling IFL Science that they made a mistake, the video had like 220 something thousand views on it. By the time I finished recording the video and got back to my van, got on YouTube and checked it again, it went to like 233,000. I showed all the numbers in the video, like, haha. I'm like I wasn't viral then, but I am now, dummy. You know, that was a miscalculation. Yeah. I was like, thank you very much. You just gave me a platform, but you know, it all happened.
Bad publicity is good publicity.
I guess so. You know, they meant it for bad, but the good Lord made it out for my good, and I'm all right with that. You know, you turn lemons into lemonade out here. So I'm just doing the best that I can with what happened at this point.
Right. Yeah, I think once people become more open-minded, I think hopefully it won't be ridiculed as much, and it'll be more open for at least a genuine discussion. I can't really say a fair one until until we can match them in budget and all that. So if you give me the budget of NASA, then we can go tit for tat with the experiments. But all the proof should be the burden rather should be held by them. They're the ones with big government agencies and all the money. We're just little guys we're just little guys with camera phones trying to make something understandable for everyone else. So that's what I see. I see the struggle now is just letting the wave of ridicule die down to the point where a discussion can be had without that.
Yes.
Do you think that'll ever come, or you think we're kind of stuck?
Oh no, I think it's coming, because there are more people waking up to this every day. Believe that. At least in my experience, because you know, every day I'm riding around here in the mobile billboard, man, and you know, I mean, I can't go anywhere lately without somebody giving me honking the horn next to me, and they're like, give me a thumbs up, like, hey, I know, right? You know, I bumped into a guy at the gym. I got up and went to the gym at like 3 a.m. the other day. You know, I'm like, well, I went to bed early and you know, I was done sleeping, I guess. So I'm just laying there. I'm like, should I get up and go? Yeah, okay, I'll get up and go to the gym. So I go to the gym. I got my van parked out here. It's got all the stuff on the windows. And this guy approaches me. He says, hey man, are you the one making those videos on YouTube? I was like, yeah. He was like, I knew that was you. Oh, I saw your van outside. Hey man, it's great to meet you. I'm like, that was like the first time that somebody had recognized me out in the open, like, oh, it's you, the spirit level guy. I was like, oh snap.
You're internet famous.
Yeah, wow. I was like, I'm saying it kind of hit me like, yo, I got a fan. You know, I was like, that's weird. You know, but it was cool. I mean, you know, we exchanged numbers, and I've talked to him a couple times. I'll probably drop by his place for a barbecue or something this weekend. I don't know. We'll see what's up.
Though, bro.
That's cool, man. It's cool. It really is.
But yeah, I'm with you guys. I think, you know, anytime you slap somebody, the discussion can't really get started until the sting leaves the face.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You got to let the sting leave before they're able to sit down and go, okay, let's talk about why I took that slap.
Right.
And you're not going to get them to pay attention until the sting leaves. So I think, the sting of this flat earth, I've said it many, many times. Flat earth is the pepper spray of truth.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk up to anybody, anywhere, anytime in a Starbucks, a McDonald's, or the corner store and say, look, you think 9/11 was an inside job? And they'll be like, yeah, I kind of, it's a bit weird. I don't really believe the official story. And you might get some conversation, or somebody might go, no, I heard all that. I think our government's not that crazy. They're crazy, but they're not that crazy. But
right.
if you say flat earth,
oh man,
I mean, you could be getting robbed. I said this to you the other day, bro. You could be getting robbed in New York City with a gun to your head. You want to stop the robbery. You don't got to hand them your wallet. Just tell them, hey, do you think the earth is flat? and the robbery is over. Dude is exiting the scene of the crime. As a matter of fact, he's calling the police on you. because
this guy's crazy.
Right? You mentioned flat earth. That's the assault.
Yeah.
You are literally pepper spraying them in the face. You're slapping them. You're kicking them in the behind.
Yep.
You're head locking them to the ground. They do everything in their power to get out of that conversation.
Absolutely.
But what I will say is this: it's not like that as much now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
And I think people are subliminally. Let me say that again. I think people are subliminally catching some flat earth information on the internet. Just by clicking and that random click factor, they might be not watching 20 minutes of an hour-long video. They might only be catching the first 15 seconds, but they're getting those subliminal messages. So now when they hear flat earth, it's not so foreign as it was. Because there was a time when I would say flat earth to somebody, they'd say, are you crazy? Oh, you got to be crazy.
Right.
I said that to a woman at Walmart in Canada a couple months ago. I was down there visiting. So I was going through the checkout, and I was with a friend of mine, and she's a flat earther. And so her and I were just kind of kicking it through the Walmart. I said, watch this, Kendra. So we got to the cashier, and the cashier was, I've known her for years, and she likes me. Her and I were having a conversation.
Yeah.
And so I said to the cashier, I was like, hey, we're on a flat earth, right? Oh, she said, stop it, Mr. Campbell. Stop it. Those crazy people believe that on the internet. I was watching some of that the other day. I said, what if we're the ones that are crazy?
Yeah.
And she goes, well, that's possible. I work at Walmart. And I was like, see? So, but I agree with you guys in that the conversation now is less of an open hand slap, and people are actually responding to it because it's interesting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's because it appeals to common sense.
There you go. That's my approach to it. It's not even so much a slap anymore. It's kind of a nudge. Like, come on, man, you know this. Of course it's flat. You know every time you look at water, the surface is flat. You know that. Come on, man. Get out of here. Water doesn't stick to a spinning ball.
It can't.
Come on.
So I want Teal, if I can. This is Teal, a very good friend of ours for many, many years. She was a Christian. She ended up becoming an atheist for a 4-year stint, and I just want her to just tell you how she got back to becoming a Christian, how she found the Lord again, just if she can do that for you, because I think she has one of the most unique flat earth stories out there, and I think it's a beautiful story. So if she just share it with you, I would like that.
Put me on the spot, man.
Well, you're an owner of the channel, so.
I was raised in a devout Christian home, and we were kind of sheltered because, my parents were trying to protect me and raise me in the ways of the Lord and protect me from the ways of the world and everything. So when I became an adult, and got on the internet and was hearing all different types of views from all over the world, and and also some personal things in my life. I didn't understand suffering and stuff, and I have a severely autistic son. And so, I started to doubt my faith and ended up becoming an atheist for 4 years, was convinced of that position. Mm-hmm. And then I started to re-question my atheist position, came to maybe a deist type of position where I knew there was a creator, but I wasn't convinced of who this creator was. And then I started looking into flat earth. And when I started to look into flat earth, in a couple weeks, it took maybe 2 weeks, and I was convinced. And once I was convinced, scriptures just started popping in my head. And I was like, I just broke down crying. And I thanked God for bringing me to truth, because I have been searching for truth all these years. So it was great to feel like the Lord had brought me to that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Amen, sister. Yeah, man. I think a lot of people are realizing this paradigm shift, it must come with a creator. So I think that's a good thing, is bringing them closer to the truth of the Bible, which, you know, is 2017 and oh, in my opinion. So, you know, when you weigh the truth against it, that's just what I see. The Bible hasn't been touched as far as truth goes in all these years, but for some reason people still reject it. So I think, you know, people are open-minded. They'll see what's what. They'll see that there is only one truth eventually, and just like the Bible says, every knee shall bow eventually. But I hope that people see that this is a gateway to the truth that's been there the whole time. I don't know what your stance is on the Bible, but, you know, I'm a huge Bible fan. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it just crushes me that it's been there this whole time, and it took me, you know, 30-something years of being deceived to finally get it. So I hope that people that walk the similar path as me can see, you know, that there is hope for a truth, that we all don't have to be on an infinite plane wandering to nowhere, that, you know, we are under this dome. I think I saw one of your videos mentioning a dome.
Yes.
Earlier this week, and that was quite insightful, man. What's your take on Genesis and the dome and the evidence of the dome? Because I think, to me, that's one of the biggest things that made me believe in this realm as being enclosed, was the biblical description of it and how it matches sort of what we see.
Yes. Something flew my eye. What I've gotten from as far as the dome and the evidence of it, I mean, you know, when we were children, we all kind of looked up at the sky and wondered, why is the sky blue? For one thing, but the way that Genesis lays it out, you know, it talks about the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. I'm like, okay, imagining waters, and every time you see the sun over the ocean, over a large accumulation of water, the water always seems to appear blue. And you know, after I look back over the scriptures and start looking up at the sky, I'm seeing the breakdown. I'm like, okay, and you know, the Spirit of God created a firmament in the waters. I'm like, well, I didn't know what a firmament was, but it was like a division, like a barrier. So it divided the waters above from the waters beneath. I'm like, okay, so I could kind of get that, because I went back and looked at some pictures of people in these kind of underground caverns or whatever at these like water parks where there are fish swimming above head, and you know, it was always blue. And I'm like a simple guy. I'll just look at a few things, a few clues, and just say, okay, that must be what it is. You know, I'm like, so I mean, even as simple as running a tub of bath water the tub's white, you run enough water, and then you leave out there for about 10 minutes, come back, and it looks blue. I'm like, okay, not sure what's up with that. But, you know, it's like, okay, create a firmament in the waters to divide the waters above from the waters beneath. And, you know, put two lights in there. I'm like, okay, so that must be the moon and the sun, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. Yep, that's definitely the sun and the moon we're talking about there. And then he placed lights in the firmament. That's the stars. And, you know, I'm a believer in the firmament dome structure, because I look up at those lights, and I'll take, look, I'm out here with my props all the time, and I'm a scientist. You know, I'll do my own research. I'll grab my P900, I'll grab my tripod, I'll zoom in on a star, and I'll see that star looking like a light flickering underwater. And I think we've all seen that from time to time. And I mean, I'm convinced that's water up there because it's the same color as the sun as the waters of the ocean when the sun hits it. But you know, the waters in the ocean has things in the waters, of course, but that's pure water up there, in my opinion. Now, however it's being held in place, I really don't know, but I think that I'm pretty sure that's what it is at this point.
I have a question. So you do take scriptures into consideration and believe the scriptures, right? Is that?
Yes.
So you wouldn't see it as far-fetched, knowing that the scriptures teach about this spiritual battle going on between Satan and God, and Satan being the great deceiver. We have Romans 1 that tells us God is clearly seen in his creation that they are without excuse, that nobody has any excuse. So to me, it's like it makes all the sense in the world that the great deceiver that would be the enemy of God would use creation and try to form a false reality concerning creation.
Yep.
To the people.
That makes perfect sense to me. And I mean, again, back to the whole common sense nature of my thinking. I'm like, okay, so if in fact the scriptures are true, and it seems like according to scripture, the way that the earth is set up, as far as the dome, as far as the sun and moon being inside the firmament, the stars seeming to be lights underwater, from what I can observe, who exactly would want to discredit scripture and say that we're on this spinning ball out in space and we all materialized from this big bang explosion out of nothing? You know, I'm like, well, obviously the bad guy would be the one behind that, because, you know, you would want to, you know, lead people away from the understanding that this was a divine creation. Just it was built,
and we mean something, right? There's some purpose. We got a purpose there.
Yes. And let me see, what else was that? It's like that branch of the dark forces. You know, one of their mottos is Ordo ab Chao, order out of chaos, and that's the basis of the Big Bang theory. You know, an explosion created all this perfection that we see in such, you know, such perfection. It's lined up all perfectly. You know, we're in this Goldilocks zone where we're not too close to the sun to where we will burn. We're not so far away where we will freeze. You know, that we can sit here and look at the stars and everything is just timed out. We can say there's going to be an eclipse on this day. Oh, this zodiac sign or whatever, these stars and constellations are going to be in this position at this time. It's like a timepiece. But you're telling me that all that order came out of the chaos of an explosion. It's ridiculous if you think about it. I mean, that's like somebody dropping a bomb in a junkyard and then going back the next day and finding a fully assembled MacBook Pro.
Right.
It makes no sense. Makes no sense at all.
Right, and I consider it an atheistic model, because I don't think that the atheist would have a chance without the heliocentric globe model.
Yep.
So that's the way that I look at it. Although I don't think that they could completely hide God with it. It is, you know, causing people to turn away from God, though. I've looked at the stats, and the more, you know, the more educated you go, the more you go into college and things like that, the more likely you'll come out as atheistic, you know, in your.
Well, you mentioned the Masons earlier. You said somebody like ran up on you, tried to get you to take the oath or something. What happened?
So there were these three guys. There was the one guy in front of me when I was in the Army. Okay. So I was in the Army, did 8 years. Three guys approached me. It was one guy I kind of worked around. I knew he was a Mason, but two of his brothers showed up. So he was kind of trying to be, you know, Mr. Tough Guy out here. So he comes to me with his brothers. There's one guy on my left, one guy on my right. He's in front of me. He says, "You know what? You kind of look like a traveling man." Now, I don't know exactly what that means because I don't know the language of the line, as it were. But, you know, I've read some books where they make reference to Masonic things, and I've watched a lot of these videos concerning the Freemasons, as we all have, being, you know, conspiracy theorists. And I figured, okay, he was a Mason, so these other guys must be his Masonic brothers. Fine. So the guy in front of me talks to the guy on my left. He says, so what do you think? This guy pulls up my shirt, kind of exposes my butt, and says, oh, I think he'll do just fine. So I smack his hand. I'm like, oh, yo, for real. So I like smack his hand. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? So, I mean, it was from that point where I decided, yeah, whatever plans you had for my butt, not going to happen. So that was my run in with the Masons, you know? So, I mean, that was it was weird, man. It was weird. I was like, I don't know exactly what you plan to do with my butt, but it's not going down, bro. So, you know, that was it. I don't know what the heck they were planning on doing, man, but I was like, I'm not with it.
Well, who knows, man? I mean, people like that, they do exist. So people,
Yeah.
you know, you never know who you entertain when you think that someone's being genuine or, you know, whatever. You always have to kind of, I guess this is the worst pun ever, but feel people out before you just let them into your inner space or do business with them, because you never know. That's a scary experience. That could have been, you know, our sister Eve or something out there, and you never know.
I mean, it was out in broad daylight, you know, when it happened. It wasn't super creepy. I was just like, yeah, no. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, well, thanks guys, bye. You know, that was about it.
Yeah, like the Jerry Seinfeld, what he told Kesha, no thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Pretty much.
I'm good. But yeah, that's crazy though, man. I mean, the conspiracy theorist, I guess, community is to and fro, man. There's a lot of disinformation. There's a lot of good information. You have to really dig deep sometimes to get, you know, to the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You never know who's who. So, like I said, that's why I keep to a biblical approach. Like I said, it's 2017 and in my opinion. And until someone shows me something with a better track record than that, something Floyd Mayweather can never deal with, then, you know, I'm on the winning side.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, I mean, the scientific community now has a lot to answer for, and we have heard nothing at all from these guys. I was wondering from you, like, because I search for debates. I like watching debates, and because I think it exposes a lot of the vulnerability of a person who isn't sincere when you put them on the spot and have them answer tough questions. So I'll just love debates. Yeah. So I look for them, you know, within the flat earth realm, and I don't see too many, bro. Like, have you seen any like publicized debates where people actually, I know people go on the streets and, you know, do that kind of thing, and that's cool. But have you seen any globe head, you know, step up and really give a good debate?
Well, not so much a good debate. There was just a debate. I want to say last weekend, like the weekend before this weekend, out in Atlanta. Mark Sargent said he went out to that one. It was between Zen Garcia and some professor. He was defending the globe. Zen Garcia was defending. You know, he was debating flat Earth from a biblical standpoint. And I heard he just mopped the floor with the guy, you know, and so.
Yeah, shout out to Zen Garcia, man. He's an awesome brother, man.
Yeah,
awesome brother.
Yeah, so
I have to check that out.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Sargent, he just posted a video of the highlights, slideshow highlights anyway, by Laurel Austin 9 minutes ago. So I get notifications from him on those things.
Yeah, shout out to David Weiss, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. I've seen him take on a few people, but it's not been competitive, man. Like there's no competition from the heliocentric side that I've seen that even comes close. It's like they're either willfully uneducated, or the arguments that they do have are so just reaching it and just crafted to try to explain away something that we can't experiment. It's just so crazy. So, yeah, man, as long as there's people like you out there on the road doing experiments, I don't see the scientific community doing much about it other than trying to do damage control with propaganda. I don't know.
There you go. There you go. And that's what it is. And there's a lot more coming, I believe, because, you know, what I'm doing is like I'm trying to duplicate, I guess, duplicate my efforts. I'm encouraging other people to go out and do their own experiments to get these things for themselves. And, you know, go get your laser thermometer and go out there during the full moon and, you know, test to see if the moonlight is making things colder, you know, that are in direct moonlight than they are in the shade. Just go, you know, go out to the beach, go out.
Uh-oh. I think a satellite dropped and he lost signal. What do you think? I think it was a satellite malfunction.
Yeah, I think a cloud overpassed a satellite, caused a bit of a distraction, and a shield, because you know those 9 trillion pound satellites that gravity just can't seem to pull to the ground.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, one of them.
Hey, what happened?
He took
maybe he'll be back and find a better signal, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it fortifies your argument when you do come against opposition. So it really does help to get more hands-on with this thing, and that's, you know, that's one of the things that's kind of missing from this whole thing.
Yeah, I'd like to see more challenge from the other side. I mean, they've got all the money, they got all the equipment, they got space shuttles, they're orbiting and all that. Why do you think they can't just take a simple picture of the Earth, or like put a camera on the moon? Why do you think that's so impossible? I think they should be able to prove it from the ISS. If they're up there doing a moonwalk or whatever, they can bring up a zoom. If they're doing a spacewalk, rather, if they're doing a spacewalk, why can't they have a camera that can zoom in on, let's say, the Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fight and see somebody in real time holding a flat Earth sign?
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? And then zoom back out and then zoom. You know, why can't they zoom in on a ship going up the bottom of the ball Earth in real time?
You know, I wait for it to happen, but I mean, even when they do get around to doing that, if they try, you know, we're all gonna just say, man, all they did was they just flipped the camera upside down. You know, it's like they're out there, you know, doing the CGI thing, and all they did was, you know, hit a couple of buttons, because there's you know, just quick little hacking tools. You can hit like I believe it's like Control Command hit like up, and it flips your screen upside down. So they could do something like that with the live feed, and they could just say, yeah, we're upside down. We're on the underside of the Earth today. I'll be like, come on, man, cut that out.
But, yeah, but some things they couldn't fake, like a live event, to where if it's streaming live and there's no breaks in between, if you zoom in on like the Super Bowl and then you zoom out and then zoom in on the ocean, and if somebody, you know, where it looks from that perspective, they're either sailing up the side of the ball or up underneath it, and zoom in on them and they're holding like a flat Earth sign.
I mean,
I think that if it's done right, I would believe it if I think that I'm seeing no trickery. Like, it would at least go a long way. They won't even attempt it. They won't even attempt to do nothing like that. So to me, that shows that they're not able to.
Yeah.
You know what I'd like them to do? When they do their ISS videos, I want them to show us the fourth wall. Turn the fourth wall. Turn the camera around.
Yep.
Because you know when they do these live sitcoms like Seinfeld and Everybody Loves Raymond, they never show you the fourth wall.
Exactly.
I want to see the fourth wall. When you're filming, turn the camera around and let's see what's behind the camera.
Yeah.
Me, I've
Yeah, they won't
gotten
do
to
that.
the point where I don't trust anything from them. So it's like, for me, it would be like if they wanted to demonstrate their globe, they need to demonstrate their model and show me an experiment that shows their model actually working for me to buy into it, and not just photos and videos, because I know that photos and videos, to me, I still consider them evidence, but they're weak forms of evidence because they can be altered and they can be faked.
Yes.
So, you know.
Yeah, but at the same time, we don't want to be guilty of creating some sort of our own scientism where we become unfalsifiable in our approach as well. So we want to at least, because if I show you a picture and I can show you a horizon shot right now, I just took over the Atlantic Ocean, and I can show you at least 20 miles of horizon from left to right or right to left, and there's no curvature over 20 miles, yet ships are supposedly sinking over 6 miles, right, over the curve of the water.
Mm-hmm.
That's irrefutable photographic proof right on my smartphone. So I
Right.
don't want to go the route of, well, I mean, it's unfalsifiable, but I'm just saying any attempt that we give them to prove their case, something that'd be as simple as, like they said, turning the Hubble around, or taking their video camera and zooming in and then showing the back wall, the fourth wall, doing a
Yes.
360 and then zooming in on something. They won't do something as simple as that. And I think just because people are still buying it, but it's not satisfying to me. I don't know about you. I'm
Hey,
not buying it.
me personally, if they want to shut me up and prove that the Earth is a spinning ball in space, all they have to do is strap a camera to a rocket and shoot it straight up, record the thing leaving the ground. I want to see the guy waving at the camera before they fire it up. It goes straight up. I want that rocket to record going through the air, going out into the atmosphere, and then
Right.
I want to see the Earth go like it's all big, and then they just pull away, and then they just show the Earth as a spinning ball out in space. If you can show me that, I'll shut up.
Right.
Until then,
Or
it's flat.
what do you think about the idea? I've said this a few times about maybe somebody with some money, Elon Musk type of individual, if you will, get a drone and have maybe 4 or 5 cameras on it, shooting every angle, and take a boat as far south as you can go, and then have a drone hooked up to some of the most powerful receivers that they could find,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't lose signal,
Yeah.
and send that mug across the Antarctic and see if it hits a dome or not, or see if it keeps going, how far it keeps going. I mean, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that would prove it, and I think there would be enough independent funding that could easily do it without it being questioned by it being government tampered or something. You know what I mean? Like, I think we could do that. What do you think?
Gosh. What do I think? I believe that we would have to get a really good drone, and at those temperatures, I mean, would it be able to sustain? Because,
Right.
out in Antarctica, it gets so cold. There has to be like a crew constantly on shift, defrosting the wings of the airplanes and all that. I mean, just so things. I mean, stuff it like gets to below like -50. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, we would have to have a powerful receiving
yeah.
system to fly it over.
Yeah, I mean, just the extreme cold, that would be like the biggest hurdle, and we would have to find a way to test it in those conditions. In addition to the, frequency transmitter getting the signal down at that distance, but the big thing I would think is the extreme weather conditions, because that's one of those things that people don't take into consideration. They're like, whoa, why don't you just go? Why don't you just
Right.
get some people together and go to the edge? Dude, do you know how cold it is out there? You would have to
Yeah.
you would have to charter a boat. You would have to have all kinds of resources. You need to have cold weather gear. You need to have enough food, enough water, and
you got to be allowed.
yeah, you got to get
Well, how
permission.
much you
start
think it
with
would
that one.
cost them? How much you think it would cost the military to do a live expedition across the ice to prove? How much you think it cost them? I'd say what, a few million, maybe.
Yeah.
If I mean that's being generous here. They could spare a few million out of the billions we give NASA
Yeah,
and say,
right.
let's
Right.
shut
Yeah,
these flat
I
earthers
want
up
that.
and let's do a discovery expedition and just go prove it. But
But
then we
Arcane,
would
I
have to
want
be
that.
involved with it because if
I want that with I want you, I want D Marble, Mark Sargent, and Patricia Steer on the on the excursion,
right. That's what I'm saying.
and I want it filmed live from the ISS.
Right.
Yep.
There you go. Let's make it happen.
Let's do it.
Let's make it happen. I'm down.
Yep. Start not the GoFundMe, but the petition. Get it signed, and once we get enough signatures, I'm down. I'll go for it.
Yeah. Y'all look, y'all trying to have me in one of these exploding plane crash scenarios, man. Y'all know how these people get down. I know how they act up. They're like, if we can kill 3 birds with one plane, that'd be awesome.
Well, Dave, my uncle is a pilot, so.
Dude. Oh, okay. Well, that might be safe. You know.
Hey, I got life insurance. I ain't tripping.
Yeah. You know.
Well, I guess I don't know if that'd be covered. Of expedition to Antarctica trying to find the dome of the Earth. I don't know if my insurance company will cover that one, but
right.
I mean, I think it would be, if I felt safe enough, I would attempt it. Is what I'm saying. I think like Auguste Piccard, when he went up to the stratosphere, or whatever, and he came back and he gave his testimony. I mean, think about how high he went up. I mean, that's pretty high. I mean, I'm sure he saw that it was flat. I mean, I'm pretty sure at that altitude, you'd be able to tell if it was curving. And what did he say? It was a flat disc.
Yes, exactly. With upturned edges is what he said too. Yeah, that I'm saying. Shoot. I need to start traveling.
You know, maybe the ice wall, or maybe the beginning of the dome.
I'm thinking it was the ice wall. But you know, I mean, that's the thing. It's like in this. That's why I encourage experimentation, because a lot of times we're just going by hearsay. We're going by somebody else's information. But if you start to realize things for yourself, we have to have our own experience. So, you know, that's what's going to make us that much more, you know, solid in what we know, what we believe. So,
well, when you show them the curve math, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty strict, because in order for the solar system model to work, the Earth has to be a certain circumference. It has to be tilted in a certain way.
Yep.
So it has to be the size that they tell us that it is. Otherwise, the rest of the model doesn't work.
Exactly.
But when they give so they give us the curve math, how much it should curve using Pythagoras' theorem or whatever kind of math they would like to use for their ball.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, it all demands and dictates a certain curve rate, which, with, like I said, one photo, even if I'm standing at the shoreline, I can see of horizon stretch from my peripheral left to right with no detectable curvature. So if I'm seeing 20 miles of left to right, and there's a dictated curve where it's at 8 inches per mile squared over 20 miles, how many feet of curvature should that be? It's a lot more than I'm looking at. I'm not looking at any. So no matter where they go, you're not going to find curvature. So I'm wondering, like, what could they even show us at this point to prove it? I'm pretty convinced that their model is completely falsified due to the fact that we don't see curvature over 20 miles. Yeah. Because if that's the case, then the ball must be bigger than what they're telling us it is. And if that's so, then that throws off their whole Newtonian, Einstein solar system model, right?
Exactly. That's my thoughts exactly. And I mean, that's so simple it'll go over people's head, and that's the big issue. You know, this is all like common sense. This stuff like, okay, wait, the bubble stayed level on the plane. Gee, maybe it wasn't tilting the nose down. Maybe it is flying over a flat surface. That's too simple. Oh wait, bodies of water don't curve. Nah, nope. Gravity, nope. That's too simple for them.
Too simple.
You know, I had went out to the Pacific Ocean like last month, maybe the month before that, And I did the same thing. I took my camera, I zoomed out from one edge, like as far as I could to the right. I did a straight shot, panned it from left to right or right to left, you know, with my tripod, went all the way across. It was flat the whole way. So when people say that they're out at the ocean and they see the boat go over the curvature going straight out away from them, I'm like, well, you know, did a quick search, and the average human eye, the naked eye, can see about 3.5 miles away. Aha! Now, according to spherical trigonometry, you know, 8 inches per mile squared, you know, 3 miles out, that's only like 6 feet. You know, let's say 6, 7.5 feet. You know, if you're looking at a boat that's 20 feet tall, and you're saying that you saw it go over curvature, no. That doesn't work, because you know that's only 7 feet. You're saying you lost the boat over the curvature going out that way. You can pull your camera out, you can pull it right back into view, but at the same time, you're looking from way over there to way over here. That's about, let's say that's about 10 to 20 miles from left to right that you just looked at. Where's the curvature there? Because there's the axis. There's like the y axis. There's the z axis and all that. You know. So going out forward, if there's curvature over that way, then from left to right, there should be some noticeable curvature there.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, so that's one thing that they don't. It's common sense. So it's so simple, it just goes over people's head.
It's almost like they make their model unfalsifiable, because they keep pushing back the goalpost. First, it's, oh, you can see the curve by the ships going over it, and then it's, oh, you can see the curve at 35,000 feet up, and then it's, oh, you can see the curve at 60,000. I mean, it's like, okay, you're just going to keep pushing the goalpost here. We've never seen and observed the curve. Sorry.
Yeah. That's exactly it. And like I said, it's so simple. A lot of people just miss it because they're like, it can't be that simple. Oh, yes, it can. Yes, it can. You know, just relax. Trust your senses. You know, you go outside. Somebody says, okay, so how fast is the earth spinning? And most globe believers, heliocentric enthusiasts, as I like to call them, they don't know these numbers. We have their numbers down better than they do. You know, so we're like, okay, so how fast is the earth? How fast is the earth spinning? It's spinning. Is how fast? I'm like, dude, you understand that here, at this latitude from the equator, let's say about 850 miles per hour, we're supposed to be spinning. Yeah. So go outside. Okay. Do you feel like you're moving 800 miles per hour, dude? 850 miles per hour at all? Well, you know, we all just kind of got used to it. You're telling me that you think that we all got used to moving 850 miles per hour, dude? Really? Are you kidding me? You know, and they're like, well, the atmosphere. Aha. Well, wait a minute. You're telling me that the atmosphere is, you know, keeping us from feeling any spin out here. But they also talk about the Coriolis effect too. So, I mean, which one is it? You know, the atmosphere is keeping us from feeling any earth spin, or you're telling me that snipers have to compensate for the earth, you know, earth spinning here on the surface? Because which one is it? You know, a helicopter can hover. A helicopter can hover above the surface, and the earth should just be moving underneath the helicopter while it's hovering. But that doesn't happen. You know, you go outside and you can stand still. You look at a tree, you see a leaf fall all slow to the ground. You see birds just sitting there. You see the clouds looking like they're just drifting along all slow. I'm like, so you still think we're moving at 850 miles per hour?
Well, that's the slowest speed that they say that we're moving at. Not only are we spinning at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, we're also wobbling in that spin. We're also going around the sun at what, 66,000, going around the Milky Way at 600,000, and then going off to whatever
ridiculous
pseudo direction they say that the whole Milky Way is going through the universe at.
It's like the whole solar system is moving around the sun at, you know, 515,000 miles per hour, and all the planets are. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, so 850 miles per hour in California ain't even nothing compared to the other spins. So
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I'm like, but guys, I mean, at the same time, if we're doing all this moving through space, you know, Earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour. We're orbiting around the sun at 600 or 67,000. The sun's moving at 450,000 in this direction. The whole solar system's moving at 515,000 miles per hour in this direction. Why is it that we can still see the same stars
Constellation.
every night? We see
Yeah.
this. We should have a completely different night sky every single night. But ever since I was little, I go outside, look up. Oh, there's the Big Dipper. You know, I'm like, come on, man, guys. It's so simple. They miss it.
And that's very interesting as far as the psychology of it. You know, the dynamic of how did we get so brainwashed? It's like that Tesla quote where he said, "Scientists have replaced." What was it? Experimentation with mathematics. They basically stole our senses and replaced it with theories and equations.
And
so,
yes.
And I think it's been reinforced by the media and the movies. I was going to ask you, were you ever a Star Wars or a Star Trek fan?
Man,
or a deep space fan?
Man, I was so
like a lot of people were.
Man, I was so mad when I learned about this flat Earth thing and that space was fake, dude. I wanted to be a Jedi Knight.
Heartbroken.
You know, I was mad, man. I wanted to go out to space. I saw that movie Avatar, and I was like, "Oh, there's hope." So at some point, if stuff gets really bad, and I think it might, so I might be able to like cryogenically freeze my body, go into homeostasis or whatever, and you know, go off to another planet and start life all over again somewhere else. And you know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is stuff that we all have like in the back of our mind, kind of. But you know, just thinking about that stuff, I'm like, oh man, you know, all that was kind of stripped away from me. I'm like, man, space is fake. Man, come on, man. You know, I went through the stages. You know, that was depression. I wanted to be a guardian of the galaxy to some extent, and you know, I mean, we all wanted to do that stuff because the whole idea.
Did you believe in aliens?
I don't know. For me, it was the opposite.
Wow, what's up?
I was like, oh, I felt relieved because all throughout, you know, being educated about the globe, I always had difficulty with a lot of it. And so, you know, when I discovered that there was more evidence for flat Earth, I was like, yes. You know,
well, you probably didn't have the force.
No, I was never a Star Wars fan, never a Star Wars, Star Trek. I couldn't stand any of that. You know, I believe that this Earth was made for us, and we're supposed to be tending to the Earth, and here we are, you know, fantasizing about leaving where we're supposed to be taken care of. You know,
here, I was willing to pay for ET to go home. I'd have paid his plane fare. About E.T. go home. I never watched E.T., Star Wars, Star Trek, Galactic, none of it. I haven't watched a single one of them ever. Zero interest.
See, I think that's probably why you're more so open to the flat Earth than a lot of our brothers and sisters out there who were very attracted to that idea, bro. Like outer space. I mean, I think that is the most attractive new age idea that you could think of. What's more appealing than that, than leaving the Earth and being, like he said, some sort of Jedi space trooper, finding new life, and you know, that's a dope concept for these people who deny the Bible.
Right.
Listen, man, my brothers, my homies back in the day, because you know I was in that whole gang thing, but you know, at a real street level. And we were running a neighborhood, and my friends would all be out reading comic books, waiting on that money to come through the park. So they'd be reading Batman and Superman and, you know, all this goofy superhero stuff. And I was like, what is the matter with you guys? We got to get paid. We got to make some money. We got some stuff to do. And they were like all talking back and forth. I never got into any of it. I could have cared less about Superman, Batman, the Marvel characters, none of them. I couldn't tell you one episode of any of it.
But
Zero
you know what?
interest.
There's somebody out there, probably in a 10-mile radius of me at least, who is one of the biggest Star Wars fans, the biggest Gallagher fan, the biggest anything to do with outer space, fam. I mean, this is our generation.
Yeah.
Every movie that's come out in the past 10 years has been pretty much the same theme, some sort of alien race, super race from outer space come to save us or destroy us.
Yeah.
It's this indoctrination that I think is the scariest among people who don't believe in the Bible, because it's really the only other option. Where else?
Deep,
I mean,
Right.
that's the only other option. Either accept creation or throw your problems into outer space and hope that a demon catches
I'll tell you what.
So,
you show me an atheist, and I'll show you a Star Wars fan or a Star Trek fan, especially Star Trek. All atheists love Spock. Every one of them.
Yeah. No emotion. Just, it is only logical. That's Spock, man. Real cold. Doesn't really show a lot of emotion.
Which is actually completely illogical. Emotion and logic don't have to be separate.
Yes.
No, but it's that robotic personality.
Exactly. That's what
soullessness. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. We've been under this spell for quite a long time. It took me a while to put the pieces together of the conspiracies leading to the scriptures. Yeah. I don't know when you became a Christian or a believer in the Bible, but once I accepted that, this world wasn't what I thought it was, there was a peace, and that peace is what we use to build on now. It's not that we hate the world. We're not going to go around with this hateful spirit because everything around us is fake. I mean, it's sad to wake up every day and know that people are so deceived. Like, you can't even show people that water doesn't curve, bro. Like it's heartbreaking. But at the same time, I had my own walk, so hopefully they'll take the time and see what we see. Because if not, man, this place is doomed. I don't know what to say. I mean, if if these people keep believing what they're believing, man, it's sad. Like,
they keep believing people that don't even demonstrate their claims. That's what's scary.
That's what it is. It's like you can't even show them the reality. They're so deceived. They're so brainwashed. Like, you can't even show them 20 miles of flat water and then say, look, the math doesn't work on your ball. And they'll say, no, but gravity or something. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. That's why I hope that the discussion opens up more and we see this. I don't want to say mainstream, but I say just the comfort level of people to even approach the topic, to open up without so much, ridicule it. Because I think it's possible it could be so mainstream that it turns a lot of people off to it. Like, they'll try to make it corny. They'll infiltrate it like they've done every other truth movement, like Alex Jones, perfect example.
Yes. And the idea of reaching as many people as we can, that's we need different types of people that look differently, what I'm saying, that think differently, who come from different backgrounds to be out here with the whole flat earth idea. And that's kind of my thing. At this point, I'm like, there's people that are going to appeal to Rob Skeel because he comes from a biblical standpoint. There's going to be people who appeal to Eric Dubay because he has a very monotone voice and he'll give you the information, the facts, and all that. Because there's different personalities. There's there's people who are going to be more for the in your face approach. There, so they'll go to this guy or
I clicked on your video for the sunglasses, by the way. Just letting you know.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. I'm like the flat Earth. I don't know. They'll click on it thinking I'm like the bad boy kind of, because I'm like I got the goatee and I got the braids and the shades on. They're like, who's this guy? He's talking about flat Earth.
Yeah, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm here for the kids. I'll be like this.
Right.
I'll be like this guy. I'm like I'm gonna show up in my outfit. It's the black shirt with the logo on the chest. I position it high, looking like it's a kind of like a superhero shield emblem. You know what I mean? Just to kind of appeal to that.
Yeah.
And, kind of come off with some attitude, like trying to take a different approach, because I haven't seen anybody else doing that. It's not so much a character that I play, but it's me just being open and honest, because I actually am really upset about the whole idea that we're all being lied to about this thing. So, you know, we have to hit this from a lot of different angles and try to appeal to as many people as we can with this. So, you know, I encourage everybody. I'm like, hey, if you know you're gonna, I'm like, we need some Asian guys coming out here, an Asian American guy coming out saying the Earth is flat. You know, we need
Right.
you know some other. We need more Hispanic representation. You know, all that. All demographics need to be out here appealing to people. Dude, I want people to be able to speak Spanish and English, and then take some of these videos and translate them in Spanish and send them, you know, to Spanish speaking areas, you know, because this is stuff that everybody needs to know about. This is a worldwide movement here, you know, across the plane. Everybody needs to understand this. So my idea is to, you know, I say this in my videos. I'm like, spread this as far and as fast as you can, you know, to as many people as you can, as many cultures, as many languages. So let's do this thing, you know. So
Right. And I think the you know, the American public deserve answers. I mean, they're getting their money from the American people, so we deserve proof and we deserve answers.
yes, and that's my motto. You know, it's right here. Let me see if I can get that on here. It's, you know, I got that on my card. It's, you know, spread the truth, expose the lies, demand answers. And that's, you know, somebody will come next to my van. They'll look at it and I'll be like, hey, you want to talk for a little bit? Sometimes they want to, sometimes they don't. But, you know, once they walk away, I'm like, hey, find me on YouTube. You know, you can link me your number or whatever. We can sit down, have a cup of coffee sometime. I'll give you a call. You know, I got some guy texting me right now. You know, it's all about connection, but it's like they'll come here. I'll say, hey, let's get back in touch at some point. Hey, there's probably going to be a meetup soon. You can come out there. I'll introduce you to some cool people. It'll be great, because we become isolated. Once you come out and say the Earth is flat, you know, people will run for the hills. They'll start to treat you differently. Family will stop talking to you. Friends will think you're crazy. You get ridiculed. You get mocked, and people will just kind of say, okay, leave that guy alone. And we end up isolated to a point to where we don't have anybody to talk to. And that's why lately I've been pushing the idea of meetups, because meetups are very important. It's all about, you know, it's good for people to come together. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you have the same ideas, the same mindset, support. You want to be around people that think the same way that you do. That's why you go to church. That's why you go to these support groups and all that. You know, you want to be around people who think the same way. And with the flat Earth, I posted a message on Facebook. I put up a post. I said, hey, I got about 20 minutes. If anybody wants to talk flat Earth, go ahead and inbox me your phone number. You know, in about 10 minutes, I got like 12 people inboxing me their phone number. So I sat here and like each night of the week, I was calling somebody, and I'd be on the phone for like 45 minutes to an hour and a half, you know, and I would spend maybe like 5 to 10 minutes of that time talking, and the rest of the time they're just like, and you know, man, I've been talking to this guy. And I was trying to talk to my mom. My mom told me to get lost. I talked to my brother. My coworkers are treating me funny. And, you know, I mean, I'll like leave Post-it notes around the place. And I talked to this guy at the office, and he's like, yeah, they don't want to talk to me anymore. I'm like, it's like they're almost strongly longing to have somebody to talk to, because they just don't have that support. And I realized that, and what happens is we'll be isolated, and we'll get to a point to where we become angry. We feel alone. We feel like we're the only one. So I'm saying there are other flat earthers around you. Get on your Facebook, you know, start posting stuff about flat earth. Wear a shirt with a flat earth map on it and go walk around, and somebody might actually say, dude, it's flat, I know. And then you can meet up with this person, exchange phone numbers, exchange emails. You guys can sit down and talk, because both of them don't have anybody to talk to 8 out of 10 times. You know,
Wait.
What do you think about the people saying that it's becoming like a cult and it's too divided with too much, people with the wrong intentions? What do you think about that? Worry about it blowing up.
I personally feel like I'm not saying I'm Neo or anything, but being that I'm the new guy and that whole spirit level experiment kind of pushed me into the spotlight of the whole flat earth movement, community, culture, whatever you want to call it. I don't have beef with anybody, so I'm kind of I can be cool with everybody. You know what I mean? There was recently there was the meetup last Tuesday, and there's been issues. There was some personal issues of some sort, and I'm not all that familiar between Daniel Pratt and Patricia Steer and Mark Sargent. They all had something going on a while ago, and Daniel Pratt, he was trying to tell me, he's like, hey, you need to watch yourself, watch the company you keep, stay away from those guys or whatever. I'm like, you guys had your issues, but that has nothing to do with me. So I can sit in a room with these guys for a few hours and I can come out and I can be okay. So he mentioned my name in a couple of videos, not all that positive, saying, well, he says he's a grown man, he's gonna do whatever he wants to do. I tried to warn him, blah blah blah. So I guess he's in bed with them, or he's gonna hitch his cart to them, whatever that means. So I called him on Sunday about this. I'm like, I saw this video, he mentioned my name. I'm like, hey man, we need to talk. I went to like 6 of his videos and I copy and paste. I'm like, hey man, email me your number, inbox me your number, we need to talk. So I called him up yesterday and we met up for about, we sat and talked for about 45 minutes. I explained to him who I am, what I'm about, why I'm suddenly out in the open, showed him pictures of my family and all that. And we were able to square that away. He has since put out a video of myself and him kind of burying the hatchet, as it were. But, he was like, hey, I got to meet the guy and we're good now. So I think that's what needs to happen. More of that needs to happen. And I'll try to be the peacemaker in this thing, because I can go talk to anybody, because like I said, I don't have beef with anybody. I haven't made like a video saying you need to stay away from this person, or this person's a shill, this person's a troll, this person's an agent. I haven't done that, and I'm probably not going to do that. So right now I'm kind of on neutral footing with everybody. So I'll
unless
meet,
you have proof, there's no reason to go that far.
There you go. And I'll sit down and I'll meet with anybody at this point. And hey, if you got a problem with me, you think I'm this or that, hey, hit my inbox, give me your phone number. We can get on Skype, we can get on FaceTime. I can hit you on Facebook live chat, and we can talk about this. I got time. This is what I do. But what I'm doing, I'm going to be the peacemaker in this thing. We're going to get past all this infighting. We don't need that. We got enough negativity coming from the outside, But us flat earthers attacking other flat earthers, we need to stop that, because we're all being deceived by the same people. So, me calling this person, calling that person a shill or a troll or an agent, we need to cut all that stuff out. So, we're going to find resolution at some point, and I'm going to do the best that I can to unify the movement, while I have the opportunity to do so.
What do you think?
And experiments. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask what you think about Rand's idea of the calling in the number and calling in.
Hey, that's fine. I'll talk to anybody. That's fine.
We do got a 1-833 it's flat number. People can call in. That's crazy. Rand set that up. Shout out to Rand Campbell.
Here, should I put that in the chat? I'll do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he did put it in there, but I don't know if anybody has seen it. We usually get a whole lot of trolls on here.
Still there.
I'm really shocked that nobody has used it, actually.
Okay.
But I've got a question about a experiment that we were talking about before. Maybe it's a little bit too, I don't know, over the top or illegal perhaps. But maybe because I was looking at one of Jaronism's videos where he had the laser pointer pointing it at the ISS. Did you see that one?
I believe
It was a while ago.
I may have. It was
Yeah,
the one where he had a laser pointing out, like stuck to the globe when he spun it. Is that the one you're talking about?
no, they were like trying to coordinate when the ISS was going to be over their house. So, and when the ISS was said to go overhead, they were looking at it and they were shining their laser up at it. Now, I was wondering if we coordinated enough people with big enough lasers. I was at the beach and this guy was like almost 2 miles away with this crazy big green laser, and that thing looked like it could go straight through the earth. It was so big, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, if we got enough people with lasers looking at the live stream at the same time, shooting the lasers up at several different locations, I wonder if the lasers will be able to be seen in the ISS live stream. What do you think?
Yeah, that would be another one of those smoking gun things. You know, we could coordinate that. We could totally coordinate that. You know, all it takes.
Well, at the very least, it would disprove that, like, if we had like enough, if we knew it was going to be overhead, and then like let's say 30 people with lasers went out there and started shining it up at it, and we didn't see any of that in the ISS footage. At the very least, we could say that the footage doesn't match what is supposedly seen on the ground.
Yeah, and that would be. Look, that sounds like some stuff I'd try to put together. You know, it'll
why not?
Multiple coordination. We could, you know, we could have somebody doing a screen record of the live feed, and then we could have people recording themselves with their laser, you know, kind of pointing it up where the ISS is supposed to be, because they got the website saying, hey, this is where the ISS is going to be at this time. And if you know, they're out there with their lasers pointed up there. If somebody's over there looking at the live stream and they don't see any lasers, then maybe that just means that ISS either isn't there, maybe it's a hologram, maybe they're faking it. You know, that's one of those things that, you know, plants that seed of doubt in people's mind about the globe model. So I'm all about it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the next Flat Earth meetup or a Flat Earth meetup could be over where the ISS was said to be traveling, and then say, hey, bring your biggest laser you can. That'd be dope.
Uh-oh, I think he dropped connection.
Yeah, those satellites, man, they're not dependable these days. So much better back in the 50s.
Right?
But yeah, I'd be down, man. Flat Earth meetup in Chicago, and then we all bring the biggest lasers we can find off Amazon, and we try to blind the ISS.
I like it.
Let's do it, because that have to be seen. I mean, because some lasers are so powerful they could be seen for miles or across the plane. So if you could shine a laser that could be seen across like a lake for 2-3 miles, surely it could be seen higher up.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So who knows? Maybe that's another experiment. I mean, the more we do like that, the more it just shows that we're open, we're answering questions, and we're not just sitting around with conspiracy theories. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's a Confederate theory. You're supposed to filter it through your lenses and hold fast to what's good. My senses still work.
Yes.
My eyes still work. As far as I knew, my equilibrium's still stable. I know when I'm spinning. I was on a 15-hour car ride from Chicago to North Carolina, and I drove the whole way. I didn't want to stop overnight or nothing.
Right.
On the way back. And when I got out the car, I felt like I was still driving. Like for like a good hour, I had this feeling like I was still going 80 miles an hour. So, hey, nothing wrong with my senses. Why should I doubt them? This, you know, to entertain a theory. Like, I think more people are realizing that.
Yeah.
At a time.
Yep. It's, you know, and the way I try to convey the message on my videos, I try to keep it super simple because I'm a simple guy. And if you can make it to where, you know, a 5th grader can pick up on this stuff, you know, I mean, it's over because it's just on the simplest level. If you can break things down to the most simple, these are your 5 senses. Look up at the sky. Look at the sun. Every time you see the sun, you see blue sky around it. Okay, right? Isn't that true? Okay, so now pull up the NASA live feed of the sun or any examples of NASA giving you the sun. What you see from them is like this big orange ball, and you see these solar flares jumping up from the sides of it. And behind the sun, oddly, it's always pitch black. Your 5 senses, your eyes show you every time you look up at the sun, there's blue sky behind it. But from these satellites out in space, it's always pitch black. Why?
It resembles a local and close light source. It does not resemble a, you know, far off, distant light source.
Exactly. It's just these simple things. It's these simple short video clips, things like that. You know, we'll see these time lapses of different bodies moving. We see people do these long exposure videos where they'll point the camera at the North Star, Polaris, and they'll just hit record, and then after they splice all the pictures together, you'll see it spins in a perfect circle. I'm like, come on, man. What does that tell? What does that tell you? If you can do that night after night, what does that tell you? I think that tells you that the North Star,
aren't moving in space.
You know, I'm like, guys, just use your senses. Trust your senses. It's, you know, on the simplest level. So, you know, I'm not gonna be like the smartest guy in the room. I'll just be like, come on, buddy, cut that out.
Well, that's what's so cool about the truth, man, is that you don't have to be a astrophysicist to understand the truth. I think God made a very rationally coherent universe that we live in, or realm, I should say, that we live in. Science works in an orderly way, and everything that we know aligns with the flat Earth description.
Yep.
So is that, like you said, is that simple? When people realize how simple it is, for some reason it turns them off because they've been, I think, mesmerized, like sort of like what Tesla was saying, like they've been mesmerized. He said, what do you say about Einstein? He's like a beggar clothed in the garments of a king or something like that. Like they get so mesmerized with these equations and these models, string theory, and all of that they lose their senses. It's crazy.
That's
but like we're doing though, one experiment at a time, they're gonna break down. I have a feeling.
Yep.
Yeah, and I see the problem is that they have not shown us experimentation and demonstration of their model, and so anytime there's a problem that someone can bring up about their model, all they have to do is come up with a you know, an answer for it, just a magical answer, because people are just buying into what they say instead of having it demonstrated. And this is what happened when it was discovered that, you know, Polaris could be seen 23 degrees, you know, in the southern hemisphere, or not. I might be getting the numbers wrong, but anyways, they had to apply the tilt to their model just to make it seem plausible. It still doesn't even work because you have constellations that are still shouldn't be seen if we were on a globe in the southern hemisphere. But you know, they tried to make it to where it sounds more plausible.
Well, what they did was they made it seem more acceptable, or socially acceptable, I should say. I think they did a wonderful job with their sorcery of making people believe what came out of the mouths of the scientists instead of what they could repeat or demonstrate themselves. So I think what the brother said, D Marble said, you know, we need more people, you know, unique people. We need more people that are relatable, because we're challenging a media that has been attacking our mind forever. We're attacking, we're up against a lot of brainwashing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the more relatable we can make it to people can kind of do what you said, to is kind of remove us from that and see how, look, bro, like you're believing in a fairy tale, like you're believing in something so religious that, Bible scholars laugh at you. So it's really sad, man. I mean, I think you don't want to put too much pressure on people, though, because they break and then they don't want to entertain it anymore. So you just kind of have to let people come who want to see it. And the people that happen to come across my man's van, if they got a smartphone, they're going to look it up and they're going to have a hard time refuting it. So I think there's a challenge between public confrontation, putting someone on the spot, and them challenging them to their worldview or their entire life beliefs on the spot, versus someone in their quiet moments, maybe having a seed grow that was planted by some guy's windshield driving down the street. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So the subtle approach is awesome, but
I mean, the seeing the van, it's kind of a jolt, and I see a wide range of responses from, some people will ride up next to me, like I said, they'll honk the horn, get next to me. I know, right? It's flat. Like they want to stop, like pull over and talk right then, because they got nobody to talk about. There's, I was at the drive-through. I went to Sonic the other night. This one kid comes out. He's like skating by. The Earth is flat. I was like, that's awesome. And I ended up taking a picture with these guys doing the flat Earth hand signal and all that. I put that picture in one of these videos I did. And I mean, it's people will be next to me. I've seen people, like, they'll shake their head. There was this one guy pulled up next to me. I'm sitting here, listening to my music and all that. He pulls up next to me. He's like, "But what about gravity?" I'm like, "That's a myth." They'll try to have a debate at a stoplight.
Right.
And like this morning, for example, I pull up at the dining facility, and these guys walk by. They're like, "Hey, there's the flat Earth guy." I jumped out the van. I was like, "Any questions?" "Nope." I was like, "Yep, didn't think so."
That's what I thought.
yeah. I'm like, because it was like a group of 4 of them. I'll bet like 2 of them are probably kind of on the fence, and they didn't want to say it in front of their friends. But
yeah,
it's like a lot of closet flat earthers out there, because it's like, once you say this, you already know that it's going to change your whole social paradigm. As soon as you say it, your friends are going to look at you like you're crazy. But it takes bravery to actually step out here and say this thing. So I'm encouraging people to
I have fun with it now.
Oh yeah. I'm like, we have to. I don't know. I can't help but have fun with it now. I'm like, kind of talking smack on my Facebook. I'm like posting a new picture with somebody every day. I'm like, oh man, it's like I'm like, kind of encouraging people to mark up their vehicles. I'm saying, man, I'm like out here, shoot, I can't go anywhere without bumping into somebody that's keeping it flat. And I'll like post a picture, and I'm like, check it out. Here we go, right here. And it's like me and 2 other people doing the hand sign. I'm like, oh man, check that out. And people are like, oh, I want to meet with other flat earthers. I'm going to mark up my car. I'm like, yeah, mark up your car, because we aren't going to bump into our fellow flat earthers out in real life if we don't identify ourselves,
Right.
So we got to do that with, a sticker on the car.
Time
maybe
to get those bumper stickers, huh?
There you go. It's time to put yourself out there on blast, and you're going to find your tribe. So that's
yeah, man,
what it's about.
How often does the gospel come up when you're dealing with people? Have you touched on the Christian community with this at all, or have you stayed pretty neutral in that aspect?
Well, I've been more neutral, but at the same time, I'll still go into it, because if I can kind of feel somebody out, I'll be like, so you religious to any degree? I'll be like, well, yeah. I'll be like, well, the Bible's a flat earth book, right? They're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, in Genesis, you know, it talks about how the Spirit of God is hovering over the water, and I'll take them through that, and I'll be like, so why do you think the sky's blue? And I'll just pause and I'll just let them. You can see the gears in their head. They're like, huh? You know, and they'll start to think about it that way. I'm like, well, you know, so if God created the earth, you know, on the first day, didn't create the sun until the fourth day, what was the earth orbiting around the first 3 days? Just these questions, that's like a slap in the face. Like, wait, what? You know, I mean, it kind of throws them off at first. It kind of jolts their ideology by doing those things, but then you just kind of give it to them and then kind of take it away, and then just, you know, kind of walk away and let them think, and they'll walk off kind of like, huh? You know, that's when you know they might actually go off and do some research. But,
were you a Christian before you were a flat earther, or did you discover the flat earth first?
I kind of discovered flat earth. Well, you know, my dad's a pastor, and I've always, I mean, I grew up in the church for most of my life, and you know, grew up in the church, got in the Army, wasn't going to church for a few years. I got back to going to a church here in Washington for a while. Kind of stepped away from that for a while because, you know, personality conflicts, church hurt, things like that, just conflicting personalities, things like that. So I just kind of left it alone for a while. I never left God alone. Just the whole idea of I have to meet with these people because I saw that, you know, the leadership was kind of iffy, and, you know, it was cliquish. You know, they would have their special people that they would hang out with afterwards, and, you know,
very common.
Yeah. So I kind of stepped away from it there, but, you know, kind of got back to it. You know, stepped off into kind of the new age aspect of things. I wasn't like doing ceremonials, any Wiccan stuff. It's like I got into meditation and just the law of attraction, things like that, and just kind of, you know, trying to like direct connect with God and all. But you know, I'm just now getting back into scripture and all that. So, you know,
my favorite in scripture in regards to flat earth and everything is Job 38:14. I think it makes it really obvious because it says the earth takes shape like clay under a seal. Its features stand out like those of a garment. And then Joshua 10, I mean, you can't do that in Joshua 10 with our current science model. In the earth would, I mean, God can do whatever, but he would have to do more than what is told to us in that passage in Joshua. So
right.
Yeah.
I think it's dope how you know how you're now. I think what you were kind of, at least what I got from it, is that like it's sort of strengthening your faith. Coming to the truth of the flat earth has kind of brought you, not to say back to the faith, but more grounded in it. So that's cool. I see a lot of that.
Right.
And I hope that spreads with the you know, the facts of the flat earth. I hope that kind of hits people. They kind of connect that. You know, like sort of we did. So
yeah, it's, you know, I mean, it's just certain things you'll kind of talk to people who take the Bible as literal, you know, and you can pull a globe out and say, okay, so in Revelations where it says, and behold, he comes in a cloud and every eye shall behold him. How are the people down here going to behold him if he shows up over here? You know, but then I'm like, well, on here, if he appears right there, everybody can look up and they're like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. You know, it just makes more sense on a flat.
Just like the vision in Daniel, when Daniel sees a tree that grew so high that it reached the heavens and could be seen from the ends of the earth. Yeah. I mean, my Lord, I did a video today, you know, just talking about, if you take the Bible and you throw it into the garbage, you realize that you're throwing valuable flat earth knowledge in the Bible. Okay, I get that some people don't understand Christ and they don't understand salvation and the waking of the Spirit. And I get that they, you know, have had bad religious experience. But my Lord, if you're going to be a flat earther, at the very least, give the Bible its dues. It is the oldest flat earth book on the planet. I mean, it has held, what do you say, Arcane?
On the plane.
It on the plane on 17, what did you say, 2017 to 0. I know, right? I mean, it ain't been
Floyd Mayweather can't touch that record, baby.
Right.
Amen. Right? And so when you take scripture that agrees with you, I agree. I don't care if you're an anti-Christian. I don't care if you're a Satanist. I don't care what you are. If you're a flat earther, the Bible agrees with you.
Yes.
It agrees with you. So why would you take something that agrees with you and put it in the garbage? I would never do that.
There you go.
This book, bro, when you become a flat earther, it agrees with you, man.
It's crazy how this world is upside down, man. You know, bad is good, good is bad, up is down. But, you know, there ain't even no up or down.
There ain't no up or down, right?
Right. It's all relative because we're out in space. There's not really an up or down. I'm like, dude, you sound so crazy right now. What are you talking about? Of course there's an up and down.
Right.
Well, I want to know at what point do we start floating? I want to go get so high I literally start floating. Like at what point do we have to go to so we're just floating out there?
Yeah. What
I want to know.
Did you see the rocket that supposedly hit the dome? Has anyone figured out yet what happened there? Oh, go ahead, Ray.
No, I'm just wondering how we've been flying at close to 1 million miles an hour through outer space for over 20 billion years, and we're still seem to be in the same spot according to the clouds.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, according to the
stars.
According to the stars, for billions, not like 45 minutes. I know that if I got up and ran out this house at close to 1 million miles an hour for 45 minutes, I'm going to pass each and every one of you 20 times.
Yeah.
So, but apparently this ball rocket has been flying for billions upon billions of years at Mach speeds close to 1 million miles an hour, but we ain't gone nowhere yet.
Yeah. All that.
We're still in the exact same place. We're in the stars are in the exact same place as they were 20 generations ago.
Yep.
The Mayans, the Aztecs, the Egyptians. None of these things have changed.
Well, I mean, they used to use star navigation. So, you know, how does our current science model, how do they answer for that?
We still use it. Use it for navigation. They still use sextants. Sometimes, you know, they train a lot of our maritime on that still, because there are times when your equipment's not going to work and you're going to have to use that. So they are trained at it in some capacities, and they're also trained using simulators that depicts a flat Earth model. All flight simulators and all training is based on a flat stationary surface. They can't make it work, but the public impression is that we're on a ball because of media brainwashing and manipulation. We've been told we were on a ball before we could formulate any sort of thought against it or to be able to challenge it. So we never did until some crazy flat Earth guy with dark shades and cornrows taps us on the shoulder and is like, "Hey, bro, you know water don't curve, right?" And then that's that cognitive dissonance that hits you.
Well,
for a few minutes, and you want to fight it for as long as you can, but we're all created with senses that say that that's just retarded. It doesn't make any sense.
Right, and it's common sense to know that if we were on a ball and, you know, you take off in a plane, then the horizon should drop beneath us. It should not be rising to eye level with us.
Yeah, what is the current answer for that, by the way?
Wait, which one?
What's that?
Does anybody know the current answer for when no matter how high we get up? Because I've seen that diagram of sea level, airplane level, and then the top of the Alps, gravity. And that the horizon is always at eye level, no matter how high up you go. Horizon.
Electromagnetism.
Is that their answer?
Electromagnetism, yep.
Right. So we just want to see the curve, so we keep it at eye level.
Well, they say it's too big. They say you're not up high enough, but at the same time, they want to say if they're standing on the shore, a whole ship will disappear.
There you go.
But, you know, it's crazy, man.
Contradiction after contradiction.
Exactly.
Now, you would think, I mean, this is me. I'm a businessman. And, you know, I'm also, you know, I account for my own money in the sense that I'm nickel and diming my own company. And I want to make sure if I spend $1,000 on inventory and the number crunching tells me that I'm getting back $2,700 on that $1,000 investment, you can rest assured I'm getting no less than $2,700. I watch my investments and my money, and you would think that these ball earthers, when they see NASA getting these large sums of money, and then they look at what they're getting back in return, that at the very least they would be questioning where that money's going. Yes. Because for sure, as a businessman, I can tell you, we're not getting $1 billion worth of anything, let alone 19 billion.
Right.
I was talking to a guy last night. He started spouting off about all the great things that NASA provides. I mean, I'm like, name some. Name some. Are they giving us $52 million worth of good stuff every day, dude? Really? You know, I'm like, come on, man.
Well, that's good, yeah.
You know, I just like to ask. I mean, if you're paying for a product, you're paying. You know, you have such a huge price tag. Well, what are we getting back for that? Because we're the taxpayers, and we deserve to know what they got going on. And if all they're giving us is these spacewalks, look, we got live feed. Is that really worth $52 million a day? Hey,
look at man, we got way more from Sandra Bullock in the movie Gravity than a single year of ISS footage.
Yeah, absolutely.
That movie Gravity showed me more CGI and realistic CGI than we've ever gotten out of NASA on their $52 billion a year paycheck. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
To me, they're laundering money. I know that part of life too.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
And I'm telling you, they're laundering money, man. Because first of all, they're not showing us $20 million worth of anything. So there's paychecks being paid. There's hush money being paid. There's, a little bit of equipment here and there, their little garbage equipment. They might be spending, okay, I'll give them $1 billion a year that they might, maybe be giving us.
On what?
But all that other money is laundering money. They are laundering Black Ops, they're laundering wars, they're laundering sex trades, they're laundering all kinds of stuff through that NASA. That's a laundering system, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
And circling back to that whole, you can, we see the boat go over the curvature. Well, you're in an airplane. Well, you're not high enough. Well, what about that balloon that went up to 121,000 feet? Well, you're not high enough. They tell us you're not high enough. I say, dude, there's not enough weed in Colorado to get you high enough to see any curvature. Okay.
Yeah, I got hit. I told you, D Marble, I got hit with an atheist on an airplane flying to Canada, a 4.5-hour flight. And as soon as I looked at him, I knew he thought he was smarter than he was. So I waited for the plane to start to take off. I leaned over and said, buddy, do me a favor. You got the window seat. Just look out the window and let me know when you see a curve. He goes, yeah, okay, buddy, no problem. So he's looking, and he's looking, and he's looking. He said, what did you want me to find again? I go, the curve. You should be able to see the curve. Just show me the curve. The Earth's a ball, right? He goes, yeah. I go, just let me know when you see the curve. So about 10 minutes later, we're already in flight, and he's like, yeah, I don't see a curve. I said, well, maybe it's on the other side. Look out the other window. So he leaned over and looked across the aisle out the other window, and he was looking. He's like, yeah, there's no curve. I said, exactly. and that was the worst conversation for 4.5 hours he's ever had. I am 100% sure he went to a psychiatrist right after he got off the plane.
Right. That's awesome. Got him.
Right? Because enough.
Yeah,
you think they've got you thinking you've seen something, and the minute I get you to where I can go, oh, you think you saw something. Let me see if you actually did. Here, I want you to find a curve for me. Because if I would have said to him before we got on the plane, hey, can you see the curve out the window? He would have for sure said, oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it's like we've all been programmed with these false memories, like that movie Total Recall. It's like if somebody's been on a plane and then you ask them, well, did you see curvature out of the window? They in their mind, their memory programs them to say, yeah, I saw curvature, because that's what we live on a ball. I know that. They get these false memories, and it comes from all this programming, man. That's what happens. It's a very sneaky, deceptive
that
we're a part of, and we just got to do what we can to just break the spell as much as we can.
You got to make it cool to be flat earthers.
Did I get cut off again? What happened?
No,
you're good.
you're good.
Oh,
I think Rand's trying to do something. I don't know.
My bad.
Yeah,
I kind of
Rand's trying to.
unplugged. My bad.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's gonna take it's gonna take more people speaking out, being relatable to break the spell.
There you go.
You know, showing love, giving back, showing them that it's okay to think outside the box.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that trend, as long as people stay sincere in that approach and not try to be famous or, you know, be shills, then I think more people are gonna see it's okay to be flat earthers. It's okay to not think you're on a ball. But I think it's gonna be tough because that's a central point in their worldviews.
Yes.
Is this outer space idea. It's very, very much ingrained in who they are as people, not just what they believe theologically or scientifically. This is more has to do with their ideals and their spirit.
Yes.
So yeah, we got to show love and realize, you know, they're under a spell. We all were until someone woke us up. So
true. Very true. All right. Hey, I gotta hop off before the sun goes too far off into the distance, so I can go make this do the recording for this upcoming video, because the sun I got a few, maybe about an hour of sunlight, so I gotta go get this camera set up and go do this thing. And
well, thanks for showing up and showing some love, my man, and best of luck to you in the coming days and the experiments. I know you're gonna keep them coming.
yes.
So you're welcome back anytime, man. God bless. It was a good convo.
Yeah,
thank you.
great.
God bless you. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on, y'all.
Later.
All right. You all have a good day, good evening, and keep it flat.
That's
Hey,
right.
look at man. Anytime, brother. You come by anytime, D Marble. You are absolutely the type of flat Earth person that we like to speak to, man.
All right. Fantastic.
sure,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
You're polite. You got a good vocabulary. You seem smart. You look smart. You're welcome back anytime.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, be blessed, brother.
Word.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Take care, man.
Later on.
Peace out.
Nice
God
meeting
bless.
you.
Yeah, D Marble, man. Cool dude.
Yep. He certainly gets it, doesn't he?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. We got some dude in the side chat swearing he's seeing curvature from an airplane or something. I don't know. He said at 350 feet above the ocean, it gets easier to measure. Well, send us the photo, bro. Let's see this bending ocean that you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure it was a paper airplane.
So
Let's
what
see the
happened with
CGI,
the
bro.
what happened with the number, Rand? Did nobody just call, or
No, I have an issue with it. It keeps. Well, here you could try to call it. Let me see what happens.
all right?
Call 1-833.
Wait a minute. I gotta find my phone first.
And it was going, for some reason, it was going to, so it's 833, it's flat.
Okay. So all right.
So the phone number is 833, it's flat.
$833 is flat. That's easy.
That's the toll-free number.
All right. Here we go.
All right.
The horizon is always at my eye level in every photo that I see and every time that I look outside. So maybe you should show us an example of some curvature. Because it's funny, I can see 20 miles from left to right off my balcony on the Pacific Ocean. And there should be 66 feet of curvature that is not there. So I'm sorry that doesn't, catch you up on the curve, because you claim that
See,
the
it
horizon
cancel.
is
Try it
below
again.
the eye level.
It came up. Try it again.
Yeah. It said the person you're trying to reach is currently unavailable. So let me try it again.
Yes, and I just got a message, a voice message. Yeah, there's an issue with because it's being funneled through 3 different numbers in order to get to me here in the Dominican. So
Well, go ahead and call in, Mr. Ireland Vaughn Vicious.
All right, I'm giving it another try right now.
Okay. All right.
833, it's flat. 1833, it's flat. I don't believe it's a globe. Well, I don't believe it's a globe either.
Yeah. See,
No, did it again, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. There's an issue with. I got to call the support team tomorrow at my. You hear that? But it's giving me like it's sending me the voice message. Yeah. So I don't know. I got to call tomorrow and fix it. I don't know.
Yeah, because it won't even let me leave a voice message. I was gonna say, if it let people leave a voice message, that would be all right too, because people would just leave their questions or whatever. But it's not even doing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually go to the supplier right now. Give me a minute.
That was great, though. I was glad to have him on. I think he made some good points about, unity and not allowing other people's beef to get in the way of things.
Y'all gonna put the link in the side chat, let this guy in, or what?
Go ahead.
What y'all want to do? What y'all want to do, man?
It don't matter to me.
I don't think this guy's sincere. I don't think he's sincere at all.
I won't be able to stay on for very much longer.
Mr. A4 or Miss A4, I don't know who you are, says, I don't believe companies like NASA send people into space in tin cans, but I also have not seen any evidence of an ice wall or dome. That's pretty honest, I have to say.
Well, I mean, an ice wall, you have to
tin cans either.
You could see evidence of the ice wall, though. But I mean, if they're asking to see it, fully circled, I can understand that. But
yeah, you can Google the ice wall and see that there is a wall of ice. But who do you trust to tell you what's across on the other side of it? That's the question.
Try that number now, Teal. I just went into the system and tried to change something.
I can't do it right at this moment. I got to get up and do something with that. But as soon as I get back, I will. I'll be right back.
Yeah, something's the matter with that system. Oh, Pillbox.
Yeah, call in 1833. It's flat. Yo, what up, Pillbox, Skillbox?
Yeah, somebody call 1833. It's flat. Somebody call 1833. It's flat. I want to see if the system is working.
Right. They want a picture of the whole ice wall, but they never seen a whole picture of the Earth. Ain't that something, Roger? I swear. I mean, we're not the ones with $19 billion. So, if you gave me 19 billion, I'll go get you a picture of an ice wall. How about that? Give me NASA's budget, I'll give you all the footage you need of the ice wall. He said he sent you a message, flat out elected.
Where did he send it?
I don't know. But yeah, man, I never seen no curvature, just like you never seen an ice wall. And the fact that there's no curvature, I mean, that pretty much defeats your model, because we should see curvature according to your own math. So when you start saying like you need to go higher and all that jazz, and we can see clearly 30, 50, 100 miles right here with no curvature, that should be there if your whole little math was straight and your globe was real, but we don't see that. So people asking about ice walls, I'm asking about the curvature that we should see if your globe was real. I don't know, maybe I just look through different glasses.
Or clean ones.
Right. My glasses ain't got loogies on them.
Pillbox, are you there? Bill.
Yeah, the Earth is flat hand signal. That's pretty dope. Might be Masonic. We don't know.
I don't think so. I think D Marble is pretty genuine. Right? I don't detect any kind of suspicion out of him. That guy's living in a van, man. I find him to be authentic, and I'm pretty good at authentic. If anyone isn't a shill, it's him.
I don't know. He's either authentic or the perfect MK Ultra mind control victim. What do you think?
I'm gonna go.
He's either a good guy or he's under the perfect spell. He seems pretty cool to me.
Yeah, he's a good guy, bro. He's a good flat earther for sure.
You never know, man. That devil's that's a tricky fellow, man. You never know. Keep your eyes peeled.
You gotta always be aware. That's 100%. But at the same time, I don't want to disassociate myself to everybody when we're supposed to be trying to be a family here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I try to be family, and you know what? If my senses and observations, don't forget, real flat earthers are basing 90% of their belief through their senses and observations, which means at all times our senses and observations are being tuned to a very high level. So you're going to be able to pick out the unauthentic from the authentic. You understand? So I would say, because I'm very alert to my common sense and my observations, I would say that you and I are probably better at figuring this out than one of these globe heads. A globe head wouldn't know a shill if he was sitting on one. Whereas us, we are tuned to figuring out the truth. So pretty hard to pull one on us, I think. Are there shills in the community? Yeah, I still haven't figured out what value they would have against a channel like this. Got Christ first. So I don't know what you would expect to gain from being a shill.
Anything they can to discredit what you say or make you look a certain way. I mean, there's always a reason why people do what they do, but we need not be threatened by them. Well, I ain't threatened by no shill. I ain't threatened by no, whoever online or in real life. I mean, so what can they really do besides lie? So just let them be exposed for being liars, and let the ones who are supposed to hear the message. We don't have a gun to people's head forcing them to convert the flat earth and the Bible. We're just putting it out there, and hopefully a way that some people can understand it, right? That's all we're doing. Right. So I ain't bothered by shills, but I know that they're there. And I think if I can expose one or two of them, if I can, I'll do it. But I'm not going to sweat them.
Rand just dropped. Let's hope he makes
been
it
dropping
back.
all night. It's like McGregor finna drop Mayweather. Wow. Going down.
I think that's how it's going to be.
I think he's going to drop him, man. I think he's going to do it. Make history. And if it's a setup, I think they're gonna set it up to where Floyd will lose, and then everyone's gonna pay another $100 to see the rematch. They'll say it's a fluke. Conor McGregor knocks him out in the first 2 rounds. There's an immediate rematch clause in the contract. They'll make double their money. If they would have set it up, I'm just saying. That's just my conspiracy hat talking. But I'm saying I think McGregor is still cracking one. I think if he cracks him one, he'll be seeing birdies. But I ain't a betting man. But if I was,
but I'll tell you what,
I put it on Mystic Mac.
I'll tell you what, Mayweather is pound for pound the best boxer, period. He is a skilled fighter. He's a skilled boxer. He fights defensive. Most guys that have fought against him are like in awe of how perfectly defensive he is. In other words, he looks at you as you miss the punch. So you throw the punch and he's looking you right in your face as you miss. And it's not one punch, it's 3, 4, 5 in a row. It's going to be a very, very interesting fight. Do I think that McGregor could rock him? Absolutely. But he's an amateur. He's an amateur boxer. He's going in as a boxer. He's not using all of his other fight skills. Yeah, he has some good body movement, and he's unorthodox in that he's a southpaw. But at the same time, he's an amateur pro. He's an amateur boxer going up against a very skilled, probably the most skilled boxer we've seen in a very, very long time. Don't get me wrong. I hate Mayweather. As a person, I think he's Illuminati, nasty. He's got 50 strippers on his payroll. Yeah. He is a nasty, nasty, arrogant, and he admits to worshiping some demon, the Mammon. It's the demon of material and money materialistic things. Mammon.
Yeah, he sold out.
Yeah, of course. And so did this McGregor. I seen a video of McGregor driving in Las Vegas in a Bentley, and he was driving in the Bentley. And as he was driving, he was laughing, and he looked and seen himself on the big billboard. He gave that arrogant grin, and then he looked in the side mirror with the one eye, and the whole video was as Masonic as it gets. So they're both sellouts. But the question is it a setup? Is it going to be magic? Because they use magic in a lot of sports too. I don't know. Like, what is it? What are we watching here? If it's going to be realistic, Arcane, and it's a real fight, and there's no games being played, there's no magic, there's no setups, there's no trickery, and it's just two guys getting in the ring to see who the better man is. For skills, I got to go with Mayweather. For determination and jaw-breaking power, I got to go with McGregor.
Yeah,
I don't think Mayweather can take one of his left hooks.
I don't know.
With that being said, it's hard to hit Mayweather.
Yeah. He gonna put that shoulder roll on him.
Y'all are making me want to watch it.
Hey, it's gonna be the fight of at least my lifetime. I want to see it as a fight fan. I know there's gonna be a lot of Illuminati BS that goes on, but it's entertaining.
That's anywhere and everywhere.
I want to see what happens. It's
like I said, I did a quick review on it, Arcade.
I'll pay for it.
I did a quick review on it. I'm going to pay for it too. I told Bill Box, we just buy it and I'll try to figure out how I can live stream it privately. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? And we just all watch it together. But I don't know. I don't trust anything anymore, bro. I watched a football game where you could clearly see the entire thing was magic. It was like 33 seconds left and player number 33 hit number 22 at the 22-yard line. But that wasn't just the only one. It was like 30 of them in the entire game where the numbers matched the numbers on the field. And at the exact same time that the commentator yelled out 24, number 24 came on the field, or just complete coincidence after coincidence after coincidence. And it was that gematria stuff. And I was like, wow, please don't tell me this is sports. Is that what they're doing? Some kind of magic that we're unable to catch? And, they do that triangle thing in basketball, right? Where they throw the ball in a triangle. And you can't stop it. And once that triangle gets going, they can't stop it. The defenders can't stop the motion of the ball. And they just make this triangle smaller and smaller and smaller until, boop, the ball's in the net. And they just use all this stuff they're using. This magic. So I don't know.
Yeah, man. Just like the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl the same way. They're gonna throw their little symbols in and get their little shouts out to the devil and all that. But you know, just like before I wake up or before I go to sleep, I try to pray, and when I wake up, I try to pray just over my day. So, you know, nothing that they wage against me shall prosper, my man. No weapon they wage against me.
Well, the way I see it, I mean, Paul sit there and said that consuming food offered to idols is not wrong for someone who knows that there's no power behind those idols, that those idols are just fake and false and everything anyway. So, you know, he made that a point, and I think that that's a good point for people like us, that we have to use some of the stuff that the beast system provides. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
You're 100% right, but we got to be very careful, because Eve got tricked not because she was deceived by evil. She was deceived by what looked good. So unless you're wearing the armor of God, and I fear that most Christians today are not wearing the armor of God, they're in the world thinking just because they've accepted Jesus that they're safe, but we have the armor of God for a reason. That's the protection. You tighten up your belt of truth, and you put on your breastplate of righteousness when you go and deal with these types of things. But to just think that because you're a Christian, that you can go to a Rihanna concert with your 17-year-old daughter and put the devil horns up in the air and chant the same stuff she's chanting and sing the same song she's singing without knowing exactly what it is that she's saying, because she's saying something completely different than what you're hearing. Like when Obama was saying, yes, we can, yes, we can, yes, we can. Backwards, what he was saying is, thank you, Satan, thank you, Satan, thank you, Satan. And when you hear the crowd,
Jay-Z was sitting there saying, murder, murder, Jesus, and his
right?
Yeah.
Right. And when you hear the crowds chanting and you now realize what they're chanting, it's scary. Yes, I agree. If you're a Christian and you're wearing the body armor, yeah, you're protected. But if you're a Christian and you're just a name tag Christian going out there in the world pretending that you're all about the Lord, when really Jesus said you can't serve two masters. You're either for me or you're against me. It's very dangerous. I encourage Christians to make sure they're strong in their faith and that they got the body armor on before they even play around with the devil like that.
Yeah.
Because the devil ain't joking, man.
Absolutely.
That devil ain't joking, especially
Mayweather get his head knocked off. I want to see it lose, man. I want to see it go down, man. I want to see some action. Nobody has touched Floyd Mayweather. I want to see McGregor do it. And I hope after that, there's no craziness in the streets, no racial issues. I pray that people see it all in good competition and people are going to get a wonderful payday at the end of the day. So I hope that they use that money for good things. Well, other than that, man, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait. It's like the next exciting thing that I've heard since I figured out the earth was flat. So,
well,
excuse me for being a little excited.
No, I'm a fight fan too, bro. And trust me, I've been, like I said, I took some time to review the interviews and the fights and the hype and it's, to me, I can see that it's being overhyped, and you can see the acting when they do their interviews and the way they're playing back and forth, especially with Mayweather. Mayweather brings a bag that he thinks everybody believes is a bag full of money, and he picks it up and throws it in the air. Well, McGregor goes and looks in the bag. It was only $5,000 in $1 bills, and he was acting like it was $500,000. And just, the pure stupidity is embarrassing, actually. Actually, when I watched the interviews when they were doing it was embarrassing.
Well, it reminded me of wrestling, which we know is everybody knows is fake.
It did remind me.
Just embarrassed, bro, because of how excited the fans were going crazy every time McGregor said something, and just the hate for Mayweather, the hatred for him, and the way he was trying to hold his composure on a stage. Yeah. I'm a $6 million fighter. You're a $2 million fighter. Look, everybody, he's a $2 million fighter. I'm his
But
payday.
that's why everybody wants to see Mayweather get knocked out. It's exactly
Because of his
why
arrogance.
he's the highest paid man in sports, because people want to see him get knocked out cold. And that's the whole point. But yeah, I don't care about the promotion. I'm a purist. I want to see the art forms because I think it's a intriguing matchup.
Well,
Yeah,
if it's
the
gonna be
actual
honest-
fight should be pretty entertaining. I used to be into all that as well, with Gracie and all them, but I haven't watched it in years.
If
MMA
it's gonna be
fighting.
honest, it should be a good fight. Now McGregor says he's knocking him out within 4.
I believe it.
Now McGregor also, I watched an interview where he said that he is huge in that, The Secret, where the visualization thing they came up with, The Secret years ago, and that's Satanism. And so
Say
that's
what?
when he's into The Secret. He says that he's won all his fights and won all his belts by that thing called The Secret. Just research The Secret. It's a thing that came up many years ago. It's like a cult where you visualize what you want. So you spend time visualizing. And he said visualized the law of attraction, exactly. And so he visualized every single fight he's won, and it works. And that's how he knows he's going to knock him out in the 4th. He's already visualized it and seen it happen. And the same way he did with all his other fights.
I did that too. Before he even came out and said that he would KO him in 4, I told my buddy he's going to KO him in under 3, in 3 or under. I visualized it. So I don't know how far. Maybe he is under some Kabbalic junk, but I don't know.
It could be just that he's building up his confidence as well by looking at it in that way.
Well, those guys that generally say they believe in The Secret, the law of attraction, that they not lying. That stuff does do something. It's spiritual, just not Jesus. They call it the universe. They're right. So we know what it is. I mean, we don't have that.
It strokes the pride, is what it does. You have to have a fall of that pride to see that it's not.
Well, they all do it. Tiger Woods did it. Michael Jordan. These guys all did visualization. You see the shot before you take the shot. You see the shot, you take the shot. It's exactly as you visualize it. Tiger Woods said many times when he, did an amazing putt or an amazing drive, when he put the club back in the bag, he woke up and he said, "What happened? All I remember is holding the club. I don't remember anything after that." And that to me is very, very telling.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Well, it
should make you think, well, who was in control of you then if you weren't?
But guess who else said that? The astronauts that went up in the Apollo 13 mission or Apollo 11.
Well, as a fighter myself, I have to say that that's a condition called flow state is what you're into. It's basically where you don't have any mind that's distracting you from, you're basically just reacting in the moment. You're not putting forth any effort to think or to be distracted by outside things. And everything that you saw before, like let's say before I walk out to a fight, I'm visualizing everything that could possibly go wrong, everything that I'm going to react to, everything that I'm going to counter with, right? So when I'm in that state of emptiness, I just react based on what I've already thought about. So I don't know how, I guess if you take that to a deep meditative trance-like state, you could open the door for some bad spirits, I guess. But I'm just speaking from an athletic perspective, from an athlete's perspective.
The thing is that any time that someone blacks out or doesn't remember something, they should really be asking themselves, who was in control of me at that point if I can't remember this?
Right? Because that's what the astronauts said when they came back from the moon.
They blacked out.
They blacked out. They didn't remember it.
Well, I've done it. I've done it, but it's been alcohol induced. But at the same time, it still makes you think. It's still scary because what happens during that time period, you don't know, and you don't even know if you're in control of yourself. So,
you know what's crazy?
Well, that's what Beyonce said too. Beyonce said that she calls on Sasha's spirit. She puts her hands in the air before she goes out on stage, and she calls on the spirit, and she feels something enter her, and it's no longer her. And that all the things that Sasha Fierce does on the stage, she can't do. She doesn't have her charisma. She doesn't have her strength. She doesn't dance like that. She doesn't sing like that. That's a totally different person, she said.
Well, you know what? I don't know. I don't consider myself demonic, and I certainly wasn't at the time, to my knowledge. But I've always been good at taking tests, right? And there's this thing I do before I take the test. I'll close my eyes and I'll actually think about finishing the test with all perfect answers. Like I just visualize doing it really quickly. I've always done that. And I'll take the test almost in like a trance-like state. And I've always done real good, regardless of if I failed it or passed. And there was this one time I had to go to Detroit for a test to get a job for a Ford Motor Company. And I was up for almost 2 days taking this trip down there, didn't have any sleep. And it was a 4.5-hour test. One of the hardest tests I've ever had to take. And I remember very little about taking this test. I remember flying through it though, just almost on autopilot. I didn't have any sleep, any food. And I remember I smoked cigarettes at the time, and I ran out of cigarettes like 10 hours before that. So I was like messed up at the time, bro, trying to take this 4.5-hour test. Come to find out, I did better on that test than almost everyone there. And I was expecting to fail it. Now, I remember being in that trance-like state, taking this test. Now, is it something that I can just switch on or off? Probably not. But I hear instances where guys who practice with their meditation can control that state of open, empty mind. You're reacting to just whatever the task is in front of you. You're not thinking about anything. Maybe that's demonic. I don't know. Maybe, or what I should say is maybe it could open the door for demons if you're subject to that state in such a way. I don't know. But speaking from an athlete, or just like my experience taking tests and being under pressure, that's what I do. I put myself in a trance-like state where almost like whatever consequence comes at me is almost like I'm detached from it. So if I happen to get a wrong or come up on an answer that might not be as easy for me, I won't fret over it. I won't stumble over it. I will answer it with like a confidence as I would as if I know it, almost like I'm not thinking about it. And
right.
Maybe when these actors or these actresses enter these Masonic lodges, maybe that's when they start inhabiting, or these maybe entities or demons, whatever, start inhabiting them when they're under these trances and these lodges. And then it's easy for them to just on command, when they're about to go on set, just switch into their alter egos and let that spirit guide them.
Well, you consider it a form of meditation?
I don't. Absolutely. I think in a meditative state, you can tap into that flow state or that empty mind state that it will potentially allow, I guess, the influence of something else.
I don't think.
I mean, we have to all admit that there's a spiritual side to this body that we're in, right?
Right. I don't think that meditation itself is evil. I think that the intention or how you use meditation, like your intention and motivation behind it. If someone's using meditation in a way that, because you can meditate on the scriptures and on God's word, but if someone uses meditation in a way that they believe this divine without Christ, this whole new age concept of you are the divine, that's where it starts to be wrong and sinful and to lead you into deception. But I'll tell you what, another thing that freaked me out, that used to black me out, was fighting, because my adrenaline would be pumping so fast that I wouldn't know what had happened until it was over. I had to ask my friends who won the fight,
Yeah.
Or even like a car crash or car crashes and that kind of thing. Time sort of slows down and you're removed from time. And you're like, whoa, what happened. Or have you ever been in a
I've heard
situation
people
that
say that
felt
about
like
yoga.
hours? Yeah, like when the situations where we feel like it seems like hours, or it might have seemed like it went by so fast, but it had really been hours. Like maybe those type of moments, you know, we're in sort of a meditative sort of trance-like state. We're detached from space-time.
But I think that's exactly what we're talking about, is that you got to be very, very careful when you play around. You know, if you're wearing the armor of God, if you're protected and you are truly in Christ and of Christ and for Christ, then I would agree that you could meditate on scripture, or you could, in worship, because I see a lot of people in church go into deep worship, and you can see that they're experiencing something different from maybe somebody, 4 seats away. And so I would agree that there is a lot to be said on a spiritual level for meditation and being in spirit, or in the zone, to be in spirit. But again, unless you are protected by Christ, unless you're truly with Christ, I wouldn't encourage it. That's for sure.
Well, it's a slippery slope.
Oh, it's dangerous.
Yeah. But I know, I mean, it scared me to think that that I blacked out during fights, because that's when you're enraged too. So, you kill somebody and not even know what you had done. And that's what freaked me out. I was always worried, because every fight I got into, I blacked out, and I was always worried I was going to end up killing somebody.
Yeah.
Yep, I've been there.
Yep.
You get this rage, and they call it blinding rage for a reason, because you're blinded to everything.
Yeah. It's scary.
All right. Yep. Well, I think
it's like when the globe head finds out that there's no curve, that kind of blind, they black out for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
they snap. Well, I think I'm going to call it a night. You guys can hang on to this if you want, or we can shut it down. It's up to you guys.
I'm good with shutting it down.
Some bottled water. I need some waters for the fam, so I'm going to make that run real quick. Right. But it was a good hangout, though, man.
Yeah.
For opening it.
Yeah,
we're going to have to do more of them. Bring in some more talent, some more flat earthers with a good voice, with a good message.
Yeah, man. God bless.
Yeah, God bless you guys. We'll do it again. I'm going to get this phone system fixed, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to work on your idea of so you think you're smarter than a flat earther. And I think we should do one show a week at least of so you think you're smarter than a flat earther, and have call-ins.
Yeah, man.
I think we're going to set it up nice, though. So
yeah, that's dope. I think you'll get a lot of support for that.
Yeah, we're going to figure out how we can get Teal to run past the screen carrying round 1, round 2, round 3. She can be the card girl, but okay. I'm just playing with you. I'm just playing with you. Okay, so we'll work on that. We'll figure that out. Glory to God. Thank you, Jesus, for a wonderful evening, and thank you for hopefully putting out some good seeds tonight. I think that's what happens. So,
amen.
Everybody be blessed. Pillbox, you going to speak to us now, or are you just going to keep showing off your truck?
Nice truck.
I destroyed the microphone, so yeah, I'm gonna get a new microphone soon, and we'll be back in action. Yeah, the truck works fine. The microphone doesn't.
All right, brother. You missed a pretty productive hangout.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be. I couldn't be here for this one. I apologize. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, D Marble was very good. It was a good talk. Everybody got a chance to just kind of relax and have a nice talk. So really
nice.
Good.
Hopefully you guys will have them on again or something.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to shut it down. God bless. You guys have a good night.
Thanks for playing.
Later.
Thanks for playing. And what's the phrase of the day? Water doesn't bend. There is no curve.
The earth is
except
flat.
for waves. Waves bend. That's okay, though.
Yeah, the earth is flat. No spinning wet ball rocket. All right. Good night, guys. God bless.